If it's Thursday, it's time for NSRLA. Oh, welcome, race fans. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Gillens here in the Slingshot Media Booth. And tonight, we're bringing you race number 10 of the Downtown Auto Sales National Series, live from one of the most iconic and historic ovals in the world. Cam, I don't think the ticker and information is showing up, so we'll give you a second to maybe refresh that if need be. Folks, we promise it's going to be okay. We're going to take a second to fix our technical glitches. Don't go anywhere. There it is. It's now time for some NSRLA action. We're coming to you live tonight from Milwaukee. This isn't just a racetrack, it's a time capsule of American motorsports history. Originally opened back in 1876 as a horse racing track, it was transformed into an automobile racing venue back in 1903, making it the oldest operating motor speedway in the world. That's right, older than Indy, older than Daytona. This place predates Henry Ford's first production car. Over the decades, legends have carved their names into the asphalt. A.J. Foyt, Mario Andretti, Rusty Wallace even, to name a few. The Milwaukee Mile was once a staple on the IndyCar and NASCAR calendars and has even hosted the Green Bay Packers football games back in the 1930s and 40s. When it was paved back in 1954, the era of dirt ended, but a new era began of technical mastery here on the pavement. Don't let its age fool you. This 1 mile oval may look simple on paper, but it is notoriously tough on drivers. It's a flat track, just 9 1/4 degrees of banking in the corners, filled with bumps and worn out patches that are going to test every driver tonight. Chris, the Milwaukee Mile has seen it all. Horse races, football games, IndyCar legends, and now the raw power of these Xfinity cars here in the Downtown Auto Sales Series. What makes this track such a unique challenge for drivers tonight? And what should we as fans be looking for tonight from these folks in these race cars?
Well, it's a very old, very historic track tonight. And while it doesn't necessarily fit the short track criteria, it certainly races like one. These NSRLA drivers are going to have 150 laps around the Milwaukee Mile tonight, with 60% of the fuel available and 55 laps roughly on a tank of fuel. They got 4 sets of tires in the pits, stage 1 break at lap 40, and stage 2 break at lap 80. There's a lot on the line tonight, Ellis, as we inch closer and closer to the playoffs, and with the intensity ramping up, we're due for some bumper-to-bumper action around the Milwaukee Mile tonight.
Chris, that playoff bubble and the rest of what we can expect here in Brew City, we're going to talk about right after everyone's favorite pre-race tradition here at Slingshot TV. Folks at home, rise and remove those caps if able for the playing of the national anthem. We'll be right back. Back here live in Milwaukee, just moments away from the start of the Brew City 150 for the Downtown Auto Sales Series here from NSRLA. Welcome, folks. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Cam Gillens here in the Slingshot TV booth. Boy, first thing we got to talk about before this race gets going tonight are these point standings you're seeing right now, folks. I don't know if I've ever seen a closer playoff bubble with just 3 races left in the regular season, including tonight. Look at 10th all the way back to 16th. Of course, the top 12 qualify for the 6-race playoff, but take a look. 10th to 16th. 14 points separate these drivers. Chris, how nervous are you if you're in kind of that bubble window all the way from Blaze Blaker to Christian Barnes?
Yeah, very nervous. And there's a lot on the line for those drivers. It sounds like Bryce Hinton is not going to be back. So that's, one driver above the cut line that might move below it, especially after tonight. A lot of drivers there that are beneath it. Vincent Short had trouble last week at Charlotte. He's looking to rebound here this week. Alex Pollock just 1 point out. Dustin Lewis just 1 point out as well. And with things being as close as they are right here, it's anybody's bet who's going to get into the top 12. Of course, the easiest way, Ellis, is to win your way in.
Several drivers have done that this season, including most of those drivers you're seeing inside the top 7 positions. Most of them have a win. The lone one, I believe, who does not have a win is Tyler Honeycutt. Chris, he's fast in practice. He might be one to watch tonight. We'll keep an eye on that driver. Now, let's talk about the rest of the stories, folks, if you're watching at home, that we're going to be looking at, and you can follow along with us tonight. Chris, this is a 1-mile track. We were at Charlotte last week, a much bigger track. Bristol was a couple weeks before that, right before the Christmas break. What mentality are these drivers have to be kind of having tonight? Is it going to be that Bristol mentality or Charlotte mentality?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, a combination of both. I think that you lean more towards a short track mentality here, though. This track is, you have to be heavy on the brakes. You mentioned it in the pre-race when you were talking about the track history. There's not a lot of banking here. It's one of the flattest tracks these drivers will race on all season. And it requires a short track mentality. Easy on the throttle. Don't want to spin those tires on corner exit. Hard on the brakes down into the corner. Would not be a bit surprised at all, Ellis, if we see a lot of fender banging here around the Milwaukee Mile tonight. So while I don't classify it as a short track technically, it definitely races like one.
Chris, you mentioned fender banging. Part of the reason why we're likely to see that is because of how critical track position is here at the Milwaukee Mile. What makes it so difficult to get around these cars?
Yeah, it's just difficult to complete a pass right here. The line is very sensitive, but you have some options to be able to hold off a driver who possibly tries to pass you on the inside. So yeah, I think the track position, it's just very, very difficult to be able to navigate around here. Not many options as far as the lanes go. That second lane is more so just like a holding guys off type of a situation. So I think that's going to really play a role. If we get a late race caution, these drivers are going to have their hands full trying to decide what they want to do. If they want to try to, put 4 tires on it and try to bet on that, or if they want to try to keep their track position late in the race.
We'll be keeping an eye on that. And we talked about 3 races before the playoffs. Does that change the mentality of drivers who are locked in versus drivers who are on that bubble? If you're a crew chief, what are you telling your driver to kind of expect tonight and kind of expecting out of your driver if they are on that bubble or if they are easily locked in?
Yeah, if I'm easily locked in, I'm obviously just trying to get as many wins as I can, trying to do everything I can to try to, just pick up as many checker flags between now and the beginning of the playoffs. But if I'm a crew chief, if I'm a spotter, I'm going to be telling my driver, like, hey, be aware of those drivers who are in desperation mode. Maybe if they're around you, especially in the closing stages of the race, or maybe if they're even around you at the end of these stages. Stage points are critical as well. And that might be a situation where we see some, pit strategy come into things, late in the going right here. So, I'm going to be telling them to be aware of everybody's situation around me, and, try to make sure that I take care of the car and, be, super, super cognizant of the fact that, some people are on different agendas.
Different agendas. We're going to be following all of those agendas tonight, folks. We are just moments away from the start of the Brew City 150 here for NSRLA and that Downtown Auto Sales Series. I'm Ellis Thomas, actually joined by Chris Smith and Cam Gillens. Folks, if you are tuning in at home, we are excited that you are joining us. Let us hear from you in the chat. Let us know who you're rooting for, who you are here to watch. And hey, if we get to 30 folks in the chat tonight, if we get to 30 live viewers concurrently, we're going to give away a free diecast. In fact, I think because this is one of the most legendary tracks, we'll give away one of the most legendary drivers, a Richard Petty, Petty Blue, Petty 75th anniversary diecast tonight to one lucky winner. We'll play some games over the course of the night. We got some trivia for you. Don't worry, we'll remind you about that multiple times. There's plenty of opportunities to get in, but folks, right now we got to get to the track because these cars have completed qualifying, and it's time to take a look at the starting grid tonight for the Brew City 150 live from Milwaukee. Let's go ahead and head trackside. Starting on the pole tonight, it's points leader Donnie Honeycutt. Last time he found victory lane, it was Rockingham earlier in the season. Can he repeat that feat tonight? He's going to have to deal with Matthew Heel to his right side, who starts second. Christian Barnes, another winner on the outside cusp of the playoffs, is going to be starting third. Meanwhile, Evan Janik, with 2 wins in a row, is going to be starting fourth. Bradley Minor in the 46 comes from 5th position tonight, with Mark Cofield, who's shown speed as of recent, but had trouble at Charlotte. Can he rebound tonight here? He starts 6th. Blaze Baker in the 40 machine starts 7th. Brett Bieber, who we've seen moments of brilliance from in speed, will start 8th in that number 32. Jacob Cochran, fast last week at Charlotte, was climbing through the field until misfortune struck. He'll start 9th. And Brandon Vies, who's really shown growth in the recent weeks, he's going to be starting 10th in that 65 machine.
Yeah, and rolling off on the inside of row 6, we've got Dustin Lewis in the number 33, a driver very close to the bubble, and on his outside, Travis Bieber in that 23 machine. Very fast driver in the 23. Starting on the inside of row 7, after Travis Bieber, we have Alex Pollock in the number 92, and on his outside, Cody Riggs in the number 12 machine. Tyler Honeycutt looking to get his first win on the season. Very high up in the points. He's going to be rolling off in the 15th position. On his outside, starting 16th, will be Andy Kurtz in the number 95. Jordan Ives is going to be rolling off from the 17th position on the inside of row number 9. And on his outside, Andy Berry in the 21 car. Starting on the inside of row 10, we've got Jerry Solitis. And on his outside, we've got Brandon Waldrop in the number 50.
Ryan Bittler has gotten faster and faster as the season has gone on. He's going to be starting 21st in that number 9 machine. Dayenberg in the 48 coming from 22nd tonight. David Moyer, involved in some late race incidents in the past couple of weeks, is going to be starting 23rd. Tyler Merkel in the 6 will start 24th. Adam Pettit, strong run last week at Charlotte. Can he do just as well tonight? He starts 25th. Stephen Gill starts 26th. And tailing the field tonight on his birthday, he's going to have his work cut out for him. Gino Volante starts 27th. Chris, we are half a lap away from the start of this race. What words of wisdom do you have from these drivers, including Donnie Honeycutt, the pole sitter, as we get ready to go green?
Yeah, easy on the throttle right here in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Be careful under braking right here. This is also a straight front stretch, Ellis, which is an important story that we didn't mention before. This is one of those types of tracks where you usually see a jam up, a little bit of an issue on starts and restarts. Going to have our eyes on that all night tonight.
We're getting ready for the first start tonight. Green flag is out over the drivers here in Milwaukee. The first 2 get away cleanly. Every car looks to be intact at this point. It's Donnie Honeycutt, that black number 22, leading the way. Matthew Heel second, with Christian Barnes creeping up in 3rd place. He's on the move. Meanwhile, Evan Janik up to 4th down the backstretch.
Yeah, side by side right here around Christian Barnes. Evan Janik trying to roll the top side around him. Looks like Matthew Hill side by side now with Christian Barnes right here. Barnes got a good grip right down there on the inside lane in that Domino's machine. They're side by side for second. They're side by side, looks like, for about 4th as well.
Drag race down into turn number 1. 2 packs of 2 cars side by side. That first one, Matthew Heel on the outside of Christian Barnes. Heel looks to have the momentum as they slingshot off of turn 2 down the backstretch. Evan Janik tucks a nose down into the inside, looking like he wants to gain another position, but Christian Barnes slams the door at the last moment. Janik within about a car length or less at the back of the bumper of the number 27, driven by Christian Barnes.
Yeah, and back behind Christian Barnes, back behind Evan Janik, you got Bradley Minor, one of those bubble drivers, Ellis. This is a great qualifying run for Bradley. He's running very well right now. He just wants to stay about where he's at right here, or possibly even move up. But he's thinking points tonight. I guarantee you he's thinking about these stage points as we progress throughout the night.
Not a bad strategy at all. I'm watching another battle right now that's been heating up. This is back in the 9th position, 8th and 9th. It's a battle for 9th between Dustin Lewis and Brandon Vees as they head down the front stretch. Dustin Lewis and Vees had been side by side just a couple of moments ago. Brandon Vees has held station, but Dustin Lewis in that number 33 machine, we've seen moments of excellence from him over the course of the season. He's yet to find victory lane, a season high best finish of 4th. Can Dustin Lewis continue that climb, already moving up 2 positions early on?
Yeah, Dustin Lewis, I think back to the speed he had on the road course earlier this season. While this isn't a road course, you do have, a little bit of finesse is required here on the brakes, on the throttle, park brakes, trail brake, all those things kind of play into that. So some of the same types of skill sets that you might see. Christian Barnes way up the hill right here as we got a battle for 4th.
Battle for 4th begins, and it's not much of a battle because Bradley Minor strikes first. He's going to take that position, but Minor slides up the track and is going to open the door for that 40 machine of Blaze Baker, who's also been on a tear. Baker up 2 positions now. Barnes looking like he's going to try the crossover move. Dives to the inside. Baker's going to climb the banking, that 9-degree banking here in turn 1. Those cars are side by side. Barnes looks like he has the edge on the exit of turn number 2, but Baker fights back on the outside in that number 40 machine. They'll take it side by side down into turn number 3. Baker on the high line. Christian Barnes right there on the yellow curbing as they exit turn number 4. They're still side by side at the line.
Yeah, that's a great move right there by Christian Barnes. You see how he really shallowed up the entry to turn 1. He's doing it again right here. I've always really liked that line here, Ellis. I feel like that if I can get to the bottom, if I can get to that yellow curbing here, this is a very line-sensitive track. I feel like there's a lot of time to be gained just by hitting your marks every single lap. If you can hit your marks every single lap, you're probably going to be beating a lot of people here because it is very difficult to do that perfectly every time around this flat 1-mile racetrack.
Speaking of hitting your marks and beating everyone else out there, folks, who are you thinking is going to win this race? Let us know in the chat right now. Type the number of the driver or the driver's name who you think is going to win the race. Root on your favorite driver. See if you can't pick the winner tonight in the chat as we watch this battle going on right back here. I believe that is David Moyer. We are watching Moyer struggling a little bit up and back in 22nd. He has gained a position on Andy Kurt, so he just got by just a moment ago, and now he's climbing up to the back bumper of Jerry Salinas in that number 63 machine. Salinas, just a couple races here with NSRLA in the downtown auto sales. 1 car sideways. I believe that's Tyler Merkel struggling off of turn 4. He's gathered back up on the front stretch. Chris, did you see what just happened to Merkel?
Yeah, just got a little bit sideways right there off of turn 4. He will not be the last one to do that tonight. We're going to see a lot of drivers. That's what I mentioned before in the pre-race. You're going to have to be really easy on that throttle. This is one of those tracks, I think, where you're going to have to treat it like there's an egg between your foot and that throttle pedal. Try to make sure that you're easy on it. Keep those tires underneath you, and try to make sure that you don't spin them on corner exit.
Speaking of spinning on quarter exit, up in 7th, Brett Bieber had just a moment in front of Jacob Cochran. That's a battle for 7th position. You can watch them coming off the corner right now. Bieber in that bright blue Bell South machine. He's got Jacob Cochran, who really, Chris, was one of the cars I was keeping an eye on last week at Charlotte, but entering as a favorite, he found himself involved in multiple incidents, ended up finishing 26th. So tonight, an opportunity for a winner this season, Jacob Cochran, to get back on the board and show these drivers that he is here to stay and definitely a championship contender.
Yeah, definitely some bad week or some bad luck last week at Charlotte. But we know that he's fast. We know he's going to be a contender all season. But yeah, and he's going to be looking to get back after it again this week right here. He's looking to the inside of the 32 machine right here, a Brett Beaver. That's the battle for 7th. We did have a pass. I think Cam was showing it right there just a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago. That was Evan Janik getting around Donnie Honeycutt to move up into the 2nd spot. Janik is on the move, and Janik is really fast right now. He's put a big gap right now, over almost a second right now on Donnie Honeycutt since he completed that pass.
And Donnie Honeycutt is feeling the pressure of the rest of the field, but Evan Janik, the driver, putting the most pressure on the leaders right now. He's up to 2nd. Chris, you mentioned he is the fastest car on the racetrack as Honeycutt continues to try to hold off Bradley Minor. That's a little battle going on as Minor in that 46 sweeps to the inside into turn 1. It's going to be Minor about a lane up on the track, forcing Honeycutt up another lane, who's 3 grooves up off the bottom of the track right now, side by side. Honeycutt's got some speed as they work their way down the backstretch, but he's going to have to really work it if he's going to hang tight on the outside of Bradley Minor. Minor's tail swings out to the right just a little bit. Nothing too heavy there. That number 46 is going to make the pass off the corner. Move Bradley Minor up to a podium position right now. Minor to 3rd, and now Donnie Honeycutt, Chris, he's just got to stop the bleeding. He's got Christian Barnes and Blaze Baker kind of breathing down his throat. How difficult is it when you've got 2 or 3 drivers that are likely maybe faster in this stage of the run to kind of see them in your rearview mirror getting closer and closer and closer?
Yeah, it definitely puts a little bit of pressure on you. I feel like Donnie is having a little bit of trouble right in the center of the corner. It looks like his center of the corner speed's a little bit down compared to some of his competitors right here. Look at Christian Barnes. He had a really good turn right in the center right there. Kept that left front down there close to that yellow curbing, and that's going to enable him to get the run off the exit of turn 4. He's going to be side by side with Donnie Honeycutt right here through turns 1 and 2. That 27 car is really hooked up, looking really nice right there. And yeah, Donnie now might be in a little bit of trouble right here because they are lined up behind him. Got Blaze Baker, Jacob Cochran. Blaze kind of slides up a little bit right there in the corner, but he's going to get a late exit right here, a late arc down the hill. That's a good pass right there for the 40 machine, and the 8 of Jacob Cochran going to follow as well. Yeah, Donnie's a smart racer though. He's very fast week in and week out. So it's still early, and he knows that he might have to adjust his line, might have to adjust his game plan right here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him up there near the front at the end of this thing.
Speaking of adjusting game plans, you saw it, Cam. I think Andy Berry just had a moment. Folks at home, you know how I think that? Well, look at that heart rate ticker up on the top right hand of the screen. Upwards of 130 right now. You're looking at the driver of that yellow machine, that 3rd car, now 2nd car in line, driven by Andy Berry. That thing shot up to 135 plus. I think he got sideways because it threw him back a position or 2 the last time he was in turn 1. But it looks like he's got it gathered back up right now. Now he's chasing down Adam Pettit, who had an incredible week last week. Pettit really forced to start at the rear after a penalty. Really found himself working towards the front, in fact leading some laps before the end of the evening. So shout out to that number 96 for such a good run last week at Charlotte. And I promise I won't call him Andy Pettit, the great Yankee pitcher, this week. Adam Pettit currently running in the 13th position, Chris, but he's up 12 spots. This guy is a mover and a shaker for sure.
Yeah, he is. And I got a chance to race around him quite a bit last week at Charlotte when I was out here on the track with these guys, and he was very impressive. He had a lot of speed. He knew how to take care of the tires, and he also had good fire-off speed as well. And, we got a battle going on right here for the 3rd spot. That's Christian Barnes moving past Bradley Minor, put him to 3rd. Jacob Cochran going to follow suit right there. But getting back to Adam Pettit right there, he's a driver I think that these Downtown Auto Sales National Series competitors are going to have to deal with for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think he is going to be a force to be reckoned with 100%. As is Jacob Cochran, who has moved up from the 9th starting spot to 4th position right now. You can see him on the screen, just made that pass. Blaze Baker also taking advantage of a little bit of fall off from Bradley Minor.
Oh, sideways.
front bumper, but look at the save. Baker holds on to it in turn one. That was a full drift moment for Baker. I cannot believe, Chris, that he held on to that number 40 machine nearly fully sideways, 180 degrees.
Yeah, we might be able to go back and see what happened to Blaze right here. We might be able to go double box and look at that awesome save in that number 40 machine for Blaze Baker. Yeah, he was in a very, very close battle right there with Bradley Minor. And we'll see if we can go side by side right here and look at what happened right there between the 40 and the 46. Still watching Blaze live up there in that top left-hand screen. We might see if we can come back to that later and see what happened to him. But, man, that was a heck of a save right there for that number 40 machine of Blaze Baker.
That was a heck of a save indeed. Incredibly, incredibly impressive so far from Blaze Baker, who has slid back. He's actually gained 2 spots after starting in the 7th position. Had been running as high as 3rd earlier in this race, but he's going to keep on trucking. I'm looking at Brandon V's back here in the 9th position. V's working his way by Minor. Bradley Minor, who we were just talking about inside the top 5, Chris. Minor, his lap times have begun to fall like a rock here. Brandon V's working his way up to 9th position, but Minor in danger of really falling outside the top 10 here in just a matter of maybe 10 laps or so.
Yeah, and I think what happened right there, Bradley Minor is the one who got into the back of Blaze Baker. Just a little bit of a misjudgment, it looked like, on entry to turn number 1 right there. And I think that kind of stalled out his momentum, and they got lined up inside of him right there. And he lost position after position after that. I don't think there's any damage to the nose of that Toyota Supra, but he just kind of got hung up on the outside, and that caused him to lose some positions. And I think that you might be onto something, though. It seems like the handling has also kind of gone away on that 46 machine.
Handling has gone away indeed. Now he's dealing with his teammate, Tyler Honeycutt. Honeycutt in that 54 sliding underneath. Now sliding up the track a little bit. The door is open for Bradley Minor, but he's going to not take the opportunity there. Honeycutt is faster at this stage in the race. We're on lap number 24 here of 150. The first stage is 40 laps, so we're working our way, inching our way closer and closer to the end of that stage. And Chris, can drivers make it to the end of stage 1 on fuel?
Yeah, we believe that they can. The stage break at lap 40, we think, based upon some conversations in the pre-race, that these drivers can go 50 to 55 laps on a tank of fuel. They could go a lot further than that on a typical fuel cell, or on a standard fuel cell. But they only have, I think, 60% of the fuel cell available to them tonight, 60 or 65%. So that's going to shorten it up just a little bit, but I think that they will be able to make it to the end of this stage right here, as we got a battle going on right here. It looks like for the 3rd position.
Battle for 3rd picks up. That is Christian Barnes and Jacob Cochran. Cochran right now the challenger. That red, white, and blue number 8 machine has been working that high line for the past couple of laps. Barnes might have slapped the wall there, just grazed it, but it's enough to stop the momentum of that number 27 and open the door for the hard-charging Ford Mustang there of Jacob Cochran, who's looking to the inside, looking for that P3, sealing it away from Barnes. Barnes the momentum on the outside, though. Barnes has been fast all race long. This is really his first significant challenge. Cochran's going to have to be careful not to walk up the track and push Barnes up another lane or 2. Barnes fights back on the outside, and these drivers continue to be tooth and nail side by side as they head down into turn number 3.
Yeah, tightly contested battle right here between these two. Christian Barnes, we know what kind of a driver he is. Very, very fast week in and week out. He's a little bit higher, I think, than he wants to be right there, but he still gets a nice run off the exit of turn 4. Jacob Cochran trying to make that inside work right here. We'll see what Jacob does down here on this end, if he kind of uses that curbing right here. Yeah, kind of just barely touches it right there with the left front and the left rear. That's what you really like to do here, Ellis, at Milwaukee. Just touch that rumble strip down there on the inside, that curbing. Sometimes it'll help that car turn a little bit better. Oh, he's sideways that time. Drove it in a little bit too deep underneath Christian Barnes.
Cochran drives it in deep to the corner, almost pays the price, but he is going to clear the checkout on that one. I say that, but the 27 of Christian Barnes seems like he's got a little bit of fight left in him on the outside. Barnes coming off a strong finish at Charlotte last week. Work strategy, made the undercut, proved me and Chris to not be great race strategists as it was. We had questioned Barnes' decision to pit early, but he held on to gain several spots and walk away with a top 5 finish. He's now just trying to get back in the groove, get back in sync. He's dealing with Jacob Cochran. Cochran looks like he's going to get away by about a car length. Move Barnes up or back to 4th. Jacob Cochran up to 3rd. Cochran, Chris, was a driver we talked about as having a lot of speed last week at Charlotte, but got caught up in the first 2 incidents of the night. Never really had anything to show for that initial speed. So he's looking to regroup there. Another fight I'm watching going on right now, a little bit further back, Jordan Ives. Back in the 17th position, Ives has been working his way through traffic, falling back, gaining spots. He's sitting currently stationary in the 17th position. He just got passed by Alex Pollock. Jordan Ives, Chris, is a driver that has kind of been a story of ups and downs this season. More recently downs, but trying to get something going tonight. A little bit of momentum. He's running a solid top 15 or top 20 position right now. Jordan Ives looking to see if he can't turn tonight into maybe a top 15 finish or better. He slides up the track. He's going to have to deal with Mark Cofield on the inside. Cofield, Chris, had some troubles earlier in the race, back 11 positions from where he started. And kind of a story he faced at Charlotte as well. Started off strong, had a good run going, but got caught up in trouble. So far, he's trying to regroup from an earlier mistake in the race.
Yeah, Mark Cofield actually got an EOL at the beginning of the race. He was one of the drivers that missed the drivers meeting before the race. So he and Andy Kurtz had to start at the back along with the number 23 car of Travis Bieber. So those drivers, it kind of looks like, they start, it shows as them starting in their positions, but they've been on the climb right here since the early stages. Of course, nobody has climbed, Ellis, any further than Adam Pettit, I don't believe, who is up 12 spots from where he started. And here he is right here working underneath the number 12 machine of Cody Riggs, looking to grab that position right here. This car is on the move.
On the move, Cody Riggs, unfortunately falling back. He's on the other end of that spectrum. Riggs had a really good run at Charlotte, 6th place in his debut. Kind of turned a lot of heads and made an impressive impression. First go out the gate. And right now, he's hanging tough against Adam Pettit, the hardest charger of the race so far. Cody Riggs not making it easy on Adam Pettit, who really was the most impressive car last week at Charlotte, I think, in terms of where he started, near the back of the pack. And he's doing the same thing again as he works his way up to 12th. What can't the driver of this number 96 machine do? Chris, we said getting track position and making passes was difficult. And Pettit's making it look pretty easy right now.
He is making it look easy right here. And while we got our leaders in lap traffic right here, and I mean a lot of lap traffic, we're looking at Brandon V's in the 65 right behind Tyler Honeycutt. I'll give a shout out to Brandon right here. He is holding on to this 10th position right where he started. And it looks like he's kind of on the move here just a little bit. This is an important battle right here where Tyler Honeycutt, Brandon V's, and Bradley Minor are right here. This is the battle for 10th position as we approach the end of stage number 1. A lot of stage points on the line right here, and these drivers want to collect on it.
You mentioned it, stage points with 3 races remaining in the regular season. Last 5 laps here, 10 points or 10 positions of points, worth of points, on the line here for these top 10 drivers. We're watching kind of that bubble. You see the 60 car of Evan Janet, Chris. He is slowly eating into Matthew Heal's lead. It's currently stabilized, I should say, at about 2.3 seconds. And Jacob Cochran is getting closer and closer in that mirror of Evan Janik in the most recent laps. As he's also got Christian Barnes, who hasn't gone away and fallen out the picture yet. They're closing in on Janik, and that's something, Janik, I'm used to seeing as we watch. Boy, this is a wad of cars, as we say, led by Blaze Baker, working his way through lap traffic with Donnie Honeycutt, the points leader, behind him. If you're Donnie, and you're Donnie's crew chief, I should say, Donnie's the points leader. He's got to win this season. Are you encouraging him just to, hard-nose it and go through there? How cautious are you telling Honeycutt to be?
Well, I mean, you want to be around at the end of the thing, and Donnie's a smart driver, so, he's not going to do anything very foolish right here. But yeah, he doesn't have a lot to lose, Ella, so, he doesn't have to back off the throttle and just kind of ride around. He can still charge up through there, having that win in his back pocket. But he also would like to be around at the end of this thing and possibly contend for the win tonight as well. So, man, there's a lot of stuff going on right here. Brandon Waldrop's got a little bit of nose damage riding on board right here with Brandon V's. They're working to the outside of Tyler Merkel in the number 6. Tyler's got a little bit of right front damage as well on his car. Some of these lap cars have some damage. Have to wonder how badly it's affecting the handling of their cars as they're doing their best, being very gentlemanly and getting out of the way of these leaders.
Chris, you mentioned drivers having to kind of pretend like there's an egg underneath that throttle pedal. What we were seeing from Brandon V's there, they kind of got to take that wheel, treat it delicately as well, as it looks to be on edge. Watching Adam Pettit here work his way by Bradley Minor, move Pettit up to the 11th position. They've got lots of traffic in front of them. I believe that's the number 50 of Brandon Waldrop that they're going to have to get by first. He's got Tyler Merkel with him. It looks like it could be headed 3 wide into the corner, as boy, that is intense racing, as intense as it gets. 2 wide into the corner, 1 car massively up the track there. Tyler Merkel, the last car in this lap down pack to have to contend with for these leaders right around the 10th, 11th, 12th position so far. Just now 1 lap remaining in stage number 1. Matthew Heel is currently scored as the leader, and he's again continuing to put cars a lap down. That is the end of stage number 1. Heel crossed the line first. Janik crossed the line second. Cochran going to be scored as the 3rd place finisher in stage number 1. Barnes Baker round out your top 5. You can see the rest of them on the left-hand ticker. Impressive start for Matthew Heel, Chris, after starting on the outside pole, climbs to the lead and begins to run away with it pretty early. A couple comments in the chat. Daytona 999 saying that 57 checked out, and you couldn't be more right. That Daytona also here to root on the 27 of Christian Barnes. We got Renee Lewis rooting on Dustin Lewis in the chat. Also Lost Forgotten rooting on Dustin Lewis. Folks, we're getting ready for some live caution flag pit stops. The first time these drivers are likely going to come down pit road tonight. And just a reminder, if we can get this viewer count up to 30 concurrent views, we're going to give away a Richard Petty diecast. So bring your friends in. Let's get that number up to 30. We'll give that car away. Chris, are these drivers getting 4 tires and fuel here?
Without a doubt, they're getting 4 tires, they're getting fuel. Many of them are going to be very, very, very happy about this pit stop, Ellis. We saw a lot of cars moving forward and a lot of cars moving backwards on this opening run.
Heel going to work them down pit road. A couple of cars side by side. Drivers trying to gain every possible inch, legally, of course, that they can on pit road. A couple of cars almost contact. That was Janik and Cochran right behind Heel, who's the first or the second stall on pit road. Donnie Honeycutt with that first stall. And looks like Stephen Gill might have had some issues there coming down pit road. Might have very well missed his pit stall potentially. As we watch the battle off pit road, there comes Cochran, there comes Heel, there's Janik. It's going to be Heel, Janik, and boy, I think that was a close one between Christian Barnes and Jacob Cochran, but they're scoring Christian Barnes as the winner of that battle for 3rd off of pit road, as it looks like on the pit road battle.
Yeah, it looks like, well, they might be swapping positions right here. In fact, Christian Barnes is going to... they're going to be side by side. It looks like they're going to give it to actually maybe Jacob Cochran right here as they work their way through turn 3. But I mean, those cars, Ellis, the 8 and the 27, they have been around each other all night and fairly close to each other on speed. So drivers coming down the front stretch right here, they're going to take the choose. No surprise at all to see Matthew Hill take that inside, and Evan Janik going to line up on his outside of the front row.
They did not waste any time at all. We're not going to waste any time putting some trivia up, though, while these drivers work their way around turns 1 and 2. Folks at home, let us know what you think the answer to this question is in the chat. The Milwaukee Mile holds which prestigious title in the world of global motorsports? Is it the oldest operating speedway, the fastest 1 mile oval, or the very first paved track in America? Is it A, B, or C? We're going to leave it up on the screen for a couple of minutes. Let you get your picks in there. See if you can't get this one right. At the very least, we're all going to make you smarter when it comes to Milwaukee Mile here in downtown Milwaukee, as these drivers watch or work their way through turns number 3 and 4. That pace car is leading them down the straightaway. He's going to make that left-hand turn down pit road, and he's going to unleash the horsepower of Matthew Heel and Evan Janik. Can Heel get away as quickly this time as he did last time? Green flag waves. Heel the restart control car. Cochran and Janik, that's the battle for second. A couple of cars sideways. Contact behind the leaders. Janik draws a bead on the back bumper of Heel, but suddenly slides high, and Jacob Cochran comes down below.
Yeah, Evan Janik really sideways right there off of turn 2. Did a nice job of holding on to it, but that's going to enable Jacob Cochran to complete the pass, put that 8 car, the Downtown Auto Sales Ford, up into the second position, side by side for 4th right there. That's Dustin Lewis. He's made a great jump on this restart. Oh, we got trouble behind them. Alex Pollock and several cars around in turn 4.
Alex Pollock and a handful of other cars go around on the exit of turn 4. That, I believe, was, Alex Pollock. Jerry Salinas might have been involved in that, as well as Tyler Merkel. Looked to have been a 3-car incident as we head to the replay to see if we can't figure out what happened.
Yeah, there's Alex Pollock right there in the precision number 92 on the outside. He's up a little bit high right here. Cold tires, maybe got a little bit too high right there. Comes down the track, collects 1 car. Was that David Moyer? Yeah, David Moyer right there. I think you said Jerry Salinas also. Ellis was involved in that too. So, unfortunate for those drivers right there. Yeah, Alex just a little bit sideways, just a little bit loose on the exit of turn 4 right here. Probably not the last person that we see do that tonight. Cold tires. Yeah, you can see right there sliding down into the path of the number 63 and the number 47. Nowhere for those guys to go. So, tough break for them, but, still early on. Maybe they get some of this damage fixed right here under this caution.
I believe they used to call that high, wide, and handsome, watching Alex Pollock there. And Pollock, really, it's a shame because I know Pollock has had a great finish, a solid points night at Charlotte last week. I believe he's been preparing for the Daytona 24 coming up next weekend, Chris. So kind of pulling double duty. How difficult is it to kind of acclimate yourself to 2 different types of racing and 2 different cars and go back and forth between those kind of in the weeks preparing for this upcoming endurance event?
Yeah, it can be difficult for sure, especially if you're used to, the way that those, cars are. I'm not sure what class he's driving, but, if it's a, mid-engine vehicle or rear-engine vehicle, it can be a little bit difficult to, get the balance back. That's something that I've kind of always struggled at, going back and forth between them. I've always felt like whenever we've done the Daytona 24, Ellis, that it's not until about halfway through the race where I'm like, oh, man, I got a good feel for this now. I've got a really good understanding of the car, what I need to do. And it takes me a whole nother year before I'm back to doing it again. And before I get that feel about halfway through the race the next year too. So it can be difficult for sure.
Well, we're about a third of the way through this race here at Milwaukee. It's gone by fairly fast. Just 2 cautions, 1 natural caution, 1 stage caution. Folks, you see the trivia question on the right hand of the screen. We're going to educate you. Chris and I are both teachers. We're going to teach you a little bit about Milwaukee here tonight. First question on the board. Want to hear your answers, A, B, or C. What is Milwaukee known for? What's its prestigious title? Is it the oldest operating speedway in America, the fastest 1 mile oval, or C, the first paved track? Type those answers in. We're getting close. 6 viewers away from giving away that Richard Petty diecast car. Send your friends, send your family, send your enemies. We don't care who you send. If they love good racing, send them our way. Get those guesses to that trivia question in the chat. We're watching. It's going to play a role in who wins that diecast tonight if we can get to 30 folks watching or more. Chris, drivers took the choose rule that time around. Shouldn't surprise us. Heel on the inside, Janik on the outside. Once again, deja vu from the last restart. Heel got away cleanly. Janik really had a handful with Jacob Cochran. Do you think he learned something that time as they prepare for this next restart?
Yeah, I think that he did. Those drivers got a chance to, and I think the cars will be driving a little bit better on this restart, Ellis. They've had a couple laps, of green flag racing, got some temperature in the tires, pressures build up just a little bit. So I think these cars will handle a little bit better on this restart than they did on the previous one.
We're about to find out. Heel and Janik, that's your front row. Heel gets away quickly, sees that green flag wave above him. It's once again Janik and Cochran. Janik second. He's that high car. 2 grooves up with Cochran right below him on the rumble strips. Cochran a little bit loose. They rocket off the corner. Oh. Contact to the left rear quarter panel of the number 60 of Evan Janik with the right front panel of that number 8 of Cochran. Somehow Cochran hung on to it, slides back to third. Now it's got a mirror full of Christian Barnes in that silver and orange Dominoes number 27. That's the battle for third. Barnes makes the move to the inside. Dustin Lewis slings to the inside right behind him. Cochran 2 grooves up, now 1 groove up. Christian Barnes a little bit lower. Barnes rolls through the corner. It's going to lose about a car length on the exit of turn number 2.
Yeah, we got a battle going on back behind these guys around the 32 machine of Brett Bieber, and on his outside we've got Tyler Honeycutt. This is a battle going on right here for about the 7th position, it looks like. Oh, and Honeycutt is sideways. Hold on to it, Tyler. He does a good job right there. Adam Pettit going really low right here. He's looking to take advantage of that break of momentum from the 54. That number 96 machine still charging up through the field, Ellis.
Pettit all the way up from 25th position, working his way now, trying for the 8th position. Pettit, who was so impressive last week at Charlotte, looks to see if lightning strikes twice down into turn 3. Pettit saws it to the inside underneath Tyler Honeycutt, who's been ailing over the past lap or so. It looks like Pettit's got the edge off the corner, but the number 54 of Honeycutt fights right back. That second place in point standings driver Honeycutt right behind Donnie Honeycutt, trying to hold off Adam Pettit, and there's Donnie right behind him. Chris, I believe you found out something interesting about these two last week.
Yeah, Donnie Honeycutt, Tyler Honeycutt. I had a chance to talk to Donnie after the race, after his, I believe he finished 2nd or 3rd last week at Charlotte. Talked to him a little bit, and I just asked him, like, what's the relationship between you and Tyler? And he confirmed to me that they are father and son. Donnie, father, Tyler, son. So that's really cool that they're out here racing nose to tail right here in the 9th and 10th position. And it's even more fun. They're both really fast every single week too. So they're racing each other for position each week. So that's a really cool father-son combination out here on the track here in NSRLA.
Who do you think is helping who? I would be, if my dad started getting faster than me, I think I would stop helping. I think I'd stop giving advice. I'll leave that to you. But right now, Donnie's still laying chase to Tyler Honeycutt. A couple other battles going back through the field just a little bit. Andy Berry, we talked about old Andy Berry in 15th position. He's working his way underneath Brandon V's. You can see it right there. Berry's heart rate's climbed up towards 107 beats per minute. You can see that race pulse at the right top part of the screen. We've seen it jump as high as 135. We've seen it as low as 90. Right now, static. Oh, there goes Chris. It's climbing. He's getting a little nervous in that number 21 machine. Brandon V's is going to get by Berry. Move V's up to the 14th position, at least for the moment, as they head down into turn number 1. I believe we're watching now the number 9 of Ryan Bittler, who's stationed at 17th position. He's got a miracle growing bigger with Mark Cofield, who you mentioned the EOL penalty has really kind of stifled Cofield's effort, Chris. We talked about how difficult it was to pass, but Cofield looking to make one of those rare passes right now on that black and purple machine of Bittler, who slides high off turn number 3.
Yeah, Mark Cofield ran into some oh, we got a car sideways. That's Stephen Gill off of turn 4. Stephen is down against the inside wall in the number 5 machine. Think he's going to get it back going right here. We are still green. We're going to go back right here to see if we can figure out what happened to Steven. That was one heck of a save right there. I believe we've got our side-by-side fixed, so we can go back and look at this. Steven actually did a really nice job of holding on to it. The number 5 Gills Creative Designs car right here. Here's Steven right there. He's sideways all the way back in the middle of turn 3 and 4 right there. Gets it sideways.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, and that's a little bit of contact to the inside wall. It definitely could have been worse. He was fighting it all the way down the front stretch right there, but Yeah, we'll have to see how that damage to the left front affects the handling on that number 5 Ford Mustang.
So trouble for Stephen Gill here on lap number 58. 22 laps for the end of stage number 2. Your leader currently Matthew Heel. You haven't missed anything. He's about a second up, a little under a second up on Jacob Cochran right now. Heel, a winner earlier on this season. Looking to get another one here tonight. That 57 machine stationed in first place behind him, Chris, though. Jacob Cochran looks like he's getting a little bit of speed, picking up in that number 8 machine. The cylinders are firing just a little bit more now the last couple of laps than they have since the start of this run just about 10 laps ago. Cochran, how's he looking right now in that number 8 machine?
Yeah, he's looking really good. I like the way that car looks right there around the bottom, rolling the bottom very nicely. Looking very comfortable in the number 8 machine. Back behind him, you've also got Evan Janik. He was under a lot of pressure from Christian Barnes. He's kind of driven away from him here in the last lap. Put a little bit of breathing room between he and the 27, but I feel like all of these guys right here in the top 4, it seems, are really close to each other right here in this second stage, lap time-wise. Going back here to the 8th position, that's Tyler Honeycutt. Honeycutt just got past Ellis by Adam Pettit in the 96, who just continues his charge up through the field in the number 96 machine. He is up into the 7th position. Still got about 20 laps to go. I think that if Adam feels like he can get to the 5th position here by the end of stage 2, back behind those top 4, he's going to be within striking distance of them if he can, be status quo on this pit stop right here, kind of come off where he enters pit road. I think that he would be very, very happy with being up to the 5th position by the end of stage 2, considering his starting position.
And he's pulling away from these drivers you're watching right now. That's a battle currently for the 9th position. That's Dustin Lewis on the outside in that number 33 Tracker Boats machine. He's got Donnie Honeycutt, points leader Donnie Honeycutt, is about a groove up off the bottom of the track. Honeycutt working his way by, rolling through the center of the corner just a little bit better than that number 33 machine of Dustin Lewis. I know we got some Lewis fans rooting him on in the chat right now. Folks, if you are in the chat, we're getting so close. If we can get to 30 concurrent viewers, if that number hits 30, we're giving away that Richard Petty diecast tonight here at the Milwaukee Mile. And you could win that. Keep those comments coming. Let us know how you're enjoying the race and who you think's going to win tonight. How's your new year been? We're a week into the new year. Last time we talked, it was New Year's Day. And some of these drivers had a good New Year's Day. Some of them didn't. Christian Barnes, who we're watching right now, was one of the drivers who had a great New Year's Day with a top 5 finish at Charlotte. Just worked his way by Evan Janik for the 3rd position. Moved Barnes up to the podium right now. Janik falling back just a little bit, Chris.
Yeah, I felt like Evan was under some pressure earlier from Christian Barnes. He had put a little bit of distance between them, put together a few good corners right there. But Christian Barnes got it together, got after him, and completed the pass, moved up here into the 3rd position. Riding on board right here with Evan Janik. This gives us a great perspective from the driver's seat right here. See a lot of drivers up high right there. They're running up above that sort of asphalt strip right there in turns 1 and 2 and doing a late apex off the corner. That speaks to me that, these right front tires are possibly feeling like, a little bit heated maybe. These drivers want to try to maximize their corner exit time with that line right there. A little bit different right there in turns 3 and 4 from Evan Janik. He tried to wrap the curbing around the inside right there. We'll follow on board right here. We're going to go right here to Jacob Cochran right here. You look at Matthew Heel. Matthew Heel's taking a little bit more of a direct line, it looks like. A little bit more shallow entry, trying to wrap the curbing right there in the 57. So while it is very line sensitive here, Ellis, there are some things you can do, like some nuanced things that you can do. You don't see many drivers up near the wall here if you want to be fast, but you can definitely sort of change your approach to these corners here at Milwaukee.
Several drivers trying to change their approach late in this run. About 14 laps left in the stage. Watching a great battle here between Blaze Baker, and I believe that is Adam Bieber in that, or Brett Bieber in that number 6 machine. You can watch that battle as they roll through turns 1 and 2. Baker leading Bieber at this point. Baker in that purple and white number 40 machine had a moment earlier in the race. Has since rebounded to get back into the top 5. I don't know if I've seen a car that sideways in a long time. Baker doing a good job right now. Of just kind of regrouping. We talked about maybe a little bit of damage from that contact earlier in the race. Bieber trying to regroup here and get by Baker. 3 cars really on top of each other right now, working their way down the backstretch.
Yeah, these drivers right here working their way, riding on board right here with the number 96 machine of Adam Pettit right here. Adam's looking ahead right there. He's seeing 6th. He's seeing 5th. That's the position that we felt like he would really like to be in right here at the end of stage 2. This is going to be a difficult pass up ahead, though. Brett Bieber has got a lot of speed in his number 32 machine. Been up here in the top 10 all night. Started 8th, running in the 6th spot. So, this is not the, as Adam goes further and further right here, it's going to be more and more difficult to complete the pass. Ellis, one thing I hear often here that I think is good to bring up at this point right here when we got about 10 laps to go here in this stage, a lot of drivers talk about how this is not their favorite track. You hear a lot of drivers say they really like racing here. Then you hear a lot of people say this is not their favorite track. And I just think it speaks to how difficult it is. Just how much finesse is required to be quick around here. And, Jacob Cochran right here looks like he has found a little bit of finesse, found some speed right here in these last few laps, and he is all over the back bumper of our race leader.
A battle for the lead has begun to pick up here on lap 70, coming to lap 71. Cochran has found something in that tank in the last couple of laps. He's now 1 car length, now half a car length from the back bumper of Matthew Heel. And look how hard, Chris, that number 8 machine is driving it into the corner. Heel wiggles a little bit off of turn number 2, allowing the number 8 to gain another half car length as they set their sights on turn number 3. They're going to have to work their way by a lap car. The number 6 of Tyler Merkel goes high. He defers to the leader, and boy, look at the roll off that number 8 machine, Chris. He was able to keep that car down a lot longer than the number 57 of Heel. That seems to be the big difference here on lap number 72.
Yeah, he tried to really shorten up corner entry right there, talking about Jacob Cochran. Matthew Heel saw it coming, though, and he took a pretty defensive line right there into turn number 1. Jacob Cochran is all over the back bumper of Matthew Heel right here. We'll see if he does. Yeah, I think he's going to do his late apex right here, try to cut back down the hill right here. But Matthew Heel is being very disciplined in that 57. He is not sliding up mid-corner. He is trying to keep that car on the bottom. He's not parking it in front of Jacob Cochran, but he is making it as difficult as he can for Jacob, who has a little bit of long run pace here, it seems, on the 57 to complete this pass. Jacob's got a good run right here off of turn 2. Not going to be able to do anything with it, though, right there as they enter turn 3.
And Chris, if you've watched Slingshot TV before, you know that name, Jacob Cochran, and he's one of those guys who we just almost like Aaron Smith, honestly, in terms of how well he is and how well he is at managing tire wear late in these runs. That number 8 machine is usually the one to watch when it comes to a long run in tire management. And right now, he looks to be putting on a clinic. Don't get me wrong. Heel has still got a stout machine, and that's a stout driver in the lead right now, but he's got a mirror full of Jacob Cochran, who seems, like you mentioned it, to just hung on to those Goodyear tires just a little bit better here with about 5 laps left in stage number 2. Coming to lap number 75 and the halfway point of the Brew City 150. Folks, we're 4 people away from being able to give away that Richard Petty diecast. Let's get 4 more people in here, and then it is on the table. Bring in your comments. Let us know who you think's going to win this race and who you're rooting for. It could be one of these 2 drivers. Is nothing separated those 2 guys from each other. And boy, Cochran and Heel right side by side. I thought there might have been a little bit of contact between the number 57 and the 8 as they come down the front straightaway.
Yeah, we got right here, we got Jacob Cochran looking to the inside of Matthew Heel right here. Oh, they got really close right there. The 8 car sideways into turn 1 right there. I tell you what, Matthew Heel, is very lucky that Jacob Cochran is such a nice guy, because he has been all over his back bumper right here for the last several laps. Some awesome racing right here for the lead for this Stage 2 win. And all this battling right here, I shouldn't say battling, they've just been nose to tail. It has been battling, but not side by side. But it has brought Christian Barnes into the picture as well. This is about to be a 3-car race for the stage win.
3-car race for the stage win. And boy, look, action is heating up indeed. And there was definitely some contact there. And Cochran sideways on the curbing off of turn number 2, coming to 2 laps to go in stage number 2 here. And boy, action is heating up. Christian Barnes has come into the picture there in 3rd place. It's a 3-car battle for the stage win.
It is. Christian Barnes got a lot of speed right now in the 27. Oh, Jacob Cochran was sideways off of turn 4. A little bit of contact with the outside wall. Nothing to really worry about, I don't think. I don't think it's anything too significant. Christian Barnes is taking a very different line than these front 2 ahead of him. He is running a lot higher on corner entry, looking to make a much later apex than that 27 car, and I think that is giving him a lot of speed. That's a line that will really hurt your tires, but guess what, Ellis? They don't have to worry about him here in a couple laps.
No, they don't. They're going to be on their way to pit road when that caution flag flies in just about a little over 2 laps now. Stage 2 will come to a close, and I don't think I've seen a driver put as much pressure on the leader as Jacob Cochran is right now. He definitely seems to have the faster car, having to be super careful here as he tries to work his way to the lead here in the closing moments of stage number 2 to the back bumper of the number 57. A shot is delivered from the bow of Jacob Cochran. Another shot to the back of Matthew Heel. Christian Barnes can smell blood in the water. You're riding on board with him. He's 3rd place. He's got the best seat in the house.
Yeah, lap traffic up ahead as we work the final lap of stage 2. Oh, some contact. He's going to root him up out of the way right here to the inside in 1 and 2.
It's a battle for the lead and a battle for the stage win. Jacob Cochran sandwiched between Heel and Barnes. Cochran faster. There might be contact. Sets up a different run through the corner. They're going to come up on the back of Alex Pollock in the 92. Will it open the door for Cochran, who's also going to worry about Barnes in 3rd, who's sideways off the corner? It's going to be Heel who wins stage number 2. And boy, what a wild finish to that stage. I think if that is an indicator of what is to come in the closing laps of this race, this Brew City 150 from Milwaukee, we are all in for a treat. This is going to give drivers an opportunity to work their way down pit road and get some fresh Goodyear rubbers and fuel. Now, I do want to mention one thing, folks. My chat was sitting idle with no comments for about 30 minutes. I was getting really sad. I didn't see anyone chatting, and then I refreshed the page and there were tons of comments. I promise I wasn't ignoring y'all in the chat. I appreciate all the comments coming in. We will try to catch up with all of those. I know someone was asking for a crank it up. We're going to give that to you at the beginning of stage number 3, so don't worry about that. We got lots of folks chiming in the chat right now. Lost Forgotten rooting for Dustin Lewis, talking about how Lewis is climbing to 4th position. Lewis, I believe, currently sitting in the 11th position. So far, that was a minute ago, but pardon me, Chris, while I'm just catching up, I want to make sure we've heard from everybody. Daytona 999 in here. Racing with Austin also says Daytona sent me. Great racing. Appreciate it. Racing with Austin. Christian Barnes in the chat. Robin Dunn also in the chat. Robin Dunn, appreciate you joining in. Lots of folks joining in for the first time. Some new names in the chat. And these drivers get close to pit road, Chris. We're just 3 viewers away from giving away that Richard Petty diecast. But right now, all eyes are on these drivers as they come down for the 2nd pit stop tonight. Under caution, this could have big implications for track position, which we've been seeing be so precious all night long. Drivers going to have to be careful not to slide into their box as they come to the attention of their pit crews for the 2nd time tonight. Donnie Honeycutt, the 1st position on pit road, slides into his spot. Matthew Heel, Christian Barnes, all trying to be the 1st car off pit road. Whose pit crew will do the best job? The answer looks to be Matthew Heel. Jacob Cochran 2nd, Christian Barnes 3rd. The top 3 hold station, but Evan Janet comes out 4th. Gino Volante might have missed his pit road markers, Chris. He comes out 5th, but I think that number 35 is going to be wanting some fuel and tires because I believe he missed his pit stall.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet right there. And yeah, he'll be coming back down pit road right there in that number 35 machine. Yeah, very important battle right there, Ellis, off of pit road, because that is really going to, we talk about how difficult it is to pass, and I think it was illustrated very well right there in the closing stages of stage number 2.
Stage number 2 coming to a close, folks. That means we're going to have to take a moment to step away to hear from our partners at Downtown Auto Sales, as well as Diesel Laptops, who make this series possible. We'll be back on the other end. Don't go anywhere. Plenty of racing and a diecast giveaway coming down the road. If you're shopping for dependable used cars in Cumming, Georgia, start with the team you can trust, Downtown Auto Sales, right at 208 Atlanta Road. They've got something for every driver: reliable daily commuters, family SUVs, even upscale luxury options. All priced fairly and backed by a 4.6-star Google rating. The staff is friendly, process is easy, and if they don't have exactly what you're looking for, their car locator service will track it down for you. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, and Saturdays until 4. Stop. All right, we're back after hearing from our partners right now. No partners, every driver for themselves. Matthew Heel gets away cleanly here at Milwaukee. Second place is going to be Jacob Cochran. And Chris, major updates. I thought I had a major update. I saw a lot of black flags, but they have since been cleared. One car sideways, a little bit further through the pack. I believe that might be the 54 of Tyler Honeycutt with trouble on that restart. Everyone else got away cleanly. Heel, Cochran.
We got trouble.
That's the battle for the lead. You mentioned it, Chris. Several cars sideways.
That was Donnie Honeycutt sideways right there, but he did a great job of holding on to it. We're side by side for the race lead. Jacob Cochran inside of Matthew Hill.
Jacob Cochran looking for the lead. Matthew Hill looking for the lead. Cochran trying to hold off Heel. Actually, I think it's the other way around.
Yeah,
Cochran gets the lead here on lap 86. Heel back to second. And Chris, that late swing that we saw, that late momentum in that run from Cochran seems to have kind of stayed around.
Yeah, it has right there. I think that Jacob recognized that if he wanted to complete the pass, this is the best time to do it while the tires are fresh, while the car has a little bit more maneuverability in it right here. And yeah, he is up into the lead right here. Maybe going to try to pace himself now at this point. Side by side right here, that's Andy Kurtz in the 95, battling it out right there with Dustin Lewis. A couple of good runs right there in the top 10 in the 8th and 9th positions, the 95 and the 33.
8th and 9th, Kurtz and Lewis doing battle. Right behind them, Tyler Honeycutt, who we talked about having trouble earlier. They're all trying to catch Brett Bieber in front of them, but yeah, look at this gaggle of cars. They're Honeycutt, Dustin Lewis in there as well, along with Mark Cofield. That's all around the 8th, 9th, 10th. Cofield sideways across the curbing. Third turn number 1 somehow hangs on to it. Got to be careful not to come back into Donnie Honeycutt there. Honeycutt swings to the left and makes a move on his son, Tyler Honeycutt, down into turn 3. Honeycutt versus Honeycutt here. Daddy on the inside, son on the outside. Who will win the battle of the father and son? Honeycutt comes off the corner a little bit ahead of Tyler. Move Honeycutt. That is Donnie Honeycutt up to 10th.
Yeah, looking back behind them, Mark Cofield. Mark struggling a little bit right there. We saw him slide up the hill, make some contact with car on the outside. Maybe that right rear a little bit heated up after that sideways moment right here. He's under a lot of pressure right here from Bradley Minor behind him. This is a battle between 12th and 13th. Meanwhile, father and son, looks like son looking to the inside of father right there. Nothing doing right there to the inside of turn number 4. They've gotten it straightened out right here as Mark Cofield's going to attack right here, possibly looking to make a move for the 11th position.
Cofield looking for the 11th position. Cofield started further in the back and continues to work his way up. Battle for second is picked up. Heel and Barnes. Barnes on the heels of Hill, trying to get by in that number 27 machine. Move him up to P2. He's now setting his sights on Jacob Cochran in the lead. Heel losing a couple spots since the restart here in stage number 3. Blaze Baker is next to try to take advantage of Hill's fall in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, he definitely is right here. And Matthew Hill, he looked like he was going pretty much unchallenged right there. I wonder if the track rubbering up maybe affected the handling of that car. You can see a little bit of damage to the left rear. I don't think that's hurting him. That's from all that contact that we saw at the end of stage 2 between he and Jacob Cochran when Jacob was doing everything he could to get by him right there. But yeah, Matthew, Matthew's pretty savvy, though. He might just be looking after his tires right here. He might be feeling like he pushed too hard right there when we saw his competitors close in on him in the closing stages. And maybe he's electing to maybe pace himself a little bit better in this final stage.
I think that's probably a sound strategy. Now, 92 laps in. We've got about 58 laps left in the Brew City 150 here at Milwaukee. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and Cam Gillens in the Slingshot TV booth. It's been a great race so far. It's been a great chat so far. Thank you all for joining in.
We got trouble, Ellis, on the front stretch. I'm sorry. Yeah. We had a lot of things going on right there between Brandon Vees and Andy Berry. We also got the number 12 car of Cody Riggs right there as well. And, man, that was almost a disaster. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, not at all. Look at Andy Berry's heart rate at the top right of the screen. I think that tells the story.
Yeah, we'll go back right here. And, Cam, I do have what actually transpired between them. It started all the way back in turns 3 and 4. With Brandon Vees. There's Brandon Vees in the Aflac machine. He's going to get that thing sideways. Look at that thing down the front stretch. He saved it, kept it off that inside wall. But then Andy Berry had to take evasive action. And Andy actually hit the inside wall. Cody Riggs makes a little bit of contact with Brandon Vees. And, man, that was insanity.
That was insane and impressive. Berry's heart rate continues to climb here, still above 100. It's paced out just a little bit, but the battle between Riggs and Vees continues here. I believe that's Riggs and Vees. It is. 15th and 16th. 12 of Cody Riggs, who had a great performance last week at Charlotte, 6th place. Really impressed and continuing to impress here with the top 15 going. He's been inside the top 10 tonight. Can he charge his way back up there? Brandon Vees trying to do something about that in that 65 Aflac machine. Vees, who's had moments of brilliance this year and has continued to pick up speed as his 10-race campaign so far has gone along over the past 2 months or so, and that's a battle right now between Evan Janik and Blaze Baker.
Yeah.
Baker moving into the 4th position, but Janik trying to work his way back by Baker a little sideways there. That white and purple machine through turns 3 and now turns 4. Look at Janik also looking like a bit of a drift off the corner, Chris.
Yeah, Evan is he is really after it right here in the last about 2 laps right here. He is driving it really deep on corner entry. I think he's seeing those leaders up ahead kind of get away just a little bit, and he wants to try to give chase to them. Definitely still wants to look after his tires right here, but, you can't let those guys get away, and looking to put a little bit of pressure on Blaze Baker right here. Blaze doing a really nice job. Managed that restart very well on pit road trip very well also, and finds himself here in the 4th spot with a couple of really fast guys, and Evan Janik and Adam Pettit right behind him.
Speaking of really fast guys, welcome to the chat, Connor Lyons. Connor Lyons, a Slingshot legend in the chat. What's up, Connor? Hopefully you are having a good week so far. Folks in the chat, we're going to do it. I've seen the effort. We're going to give away that Richard Petty diecast. We're going to have a couple of trivia questions for you, maybe a word scramble before this thing is done tonight. Let's go ahead and get that started. We're going to throw a word up on the screen that has to do with the city this race is in, and I'll give you a hint. It's a certain type of beverage. It is a certain type of beverage that's going to be up on the screen in just a moment. See if you can't unscramble that word in the chat. If you want to win that Richard Petty diecast, this is your first step to do so. Get those answers in. What's that word in the chat? Can you unscramble it? It has something to do with Milwaukee. We continue to watch the racing action here on lap 99. Coming to lap 100, nearly 2/3 of the race down. A third to go, 50 laps to go. That's Christian Barnes. He's currently in 2nd. And Chris, if any driver has anything for Cochran, really in this final stage of the race, Christian Barnes has to be on that list. Move that 27 up to the top of the contenders as we will continue to watch some other drivers, including Adam Pettit, up into the 5th position, looking for more here on Evan Janik, who's fallen off the past couple of laps.
Yeah, I think that Evan was driving. Yeah, you can see it sideways right there. He drove a couple laps really hard trying to get that position on Blaze Baker. And, man, maybe overheated his tires just a little bit. I think the end of stage 2 is really going to give us an idea about who's got what here, Ellis. We saw Jacob Cochran all over Matthew Hill, but we saw Christian Barnes coming on really strong right there in the closing stages of stage number 2. And man, right now in the last lap, he's gained another 1/10 of a second on Jacob Cochran. And that 27 car is looking really, really stout here on the long runs, working on lap number 20 of this stint right here. And, I think it's going to be a close race between these two. These drivers cannot, Ellis, they cannot make it to the end of this stage. So we are guaranteed another pit stop before the end of this thing.
And I think that's going to throw a whole other monkey wrench into this race for a lot of drivers as we watch Christian Barnes track down the leader. Barnes, the fastest car on the track right now, according to our timing sheets, about 4 car lengths off the back bumper of Jacob Cochran. Of course, we've got another pit stop coming your way that is going to put a wrinkle in this for a lot of drivers. And Chris, Milwaukee, it's no easy pit road to make.
It's not. Yeah, it's a very unique pit road entrance. When you come off of turn 4, you have to make an extremely hard left-hand turn to make it onto pit road. In fact, you will see it right here. It's very difficult to see, honestly. It looks like it just kind of disappears. You see the yellow line. You see the yellow barrels back there. So that could be a story here if we have to make a green flag pit stop. I have always had the approach here, Ellis, at this track. I'm going to be very conservative and not be that guy that winds up head first into the tire barrels at the entrance of pit road.
Been there, done that, and as the kids say, hopefully these drivers don't end up cooked at the end of the night trying to come down pit road. Hey, speaking of cooked, speaking of drivers maybe being a little bit stressed at this point, some of them, hopefully they haven't had any of these yet, but they might need a cold one of these at the end of the race. Folks, the word scramble answer, several of you got the question correct. The word was lager, and of course we're talking about beer, and many of them produced here in the city of Milwaukee, known as Brew City. And right now, these drivers about 45 laps away from being able to have a cold one. The question is, who's going to be popping that can in victory lane tonight? Folks, keep those comments coming. We're giving away that Richard Petty diecast. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do so. Everyone ask Ellis, how can we help Slingshot TV as we watch Andy Barry get some help from his crew there? The easiest and the freest way to do it is hit the subscribe button and send your friends and help us continue to get these drivers more and more attention that they deserve, as Jacob Cochran continuing to try to hold off the attention that he is getting from Christian Barnes right now. Barnes is as close as he has been all race to the lead, Chris. You can see the battle box has been shifting back and forth with how many laps it's predicting it will take for Christian Barnes to get by the leader right now. There it shifts ahead. Barnes faster that lap.
Yeah, it just speaks to how close the lap times are between them, the way that you see it shifting so much here every other lap. These drivers are very, very close on speed. It seems like Barnes has the advantage. I think Christian is pushing a little harder in this stint than he did in the previous one, and I think, Ellis, that's because he knows they don't have to go as far. Who knows when these drivers are going to come to pit road? They could pit at any time at this stage of the race and be able to make it to the end. In fact, we have seen Andy Barry, who is not on the lead lap. He has made his final pit stop here. I think that they really want to get to lap. I think they really want to get to lap 110. I think that if they can get to that point, that would put them with at least 40 to go. And they have not gone beyond 40 laps on tires tonight. So I think that it gives them the best predictability for how their car is going to handle in the final laps of this race.
Speaking of handling, right now, the battle for fifth is picking up. And right now, the 60 of Evan Janik has a handful with the number 96 of Adam Pettit, who's moved to the high line to try to get a little bit of a run off the corner, maybe diamonding the exit of the corner there, Chris. But it caused him to be a little bit loose with a wiggle from Pettit in that number 96 machine as they work their way down the backstretch. Down again into turn number 3 and 4, and I don't think you could slide a sheet of paper between the front bumper and the back bumper of those two cars. That is a battle for the 5th position. Top 5 bragging rights on the line, points on the line as well here as we get towards the final portion of the Brew City 150.
Yeah, Nels, we did have a pit stop. There it is. Matthew Hill on pit road in the number 57, our third place runner right here. He's going to get 4 tires. He's going to get fuel. And guess what, Ellis? We made it to lap 110 right there. And yeah, Matthew's going to know what he's got in the closing stages. We're going to see what kind of speed he has right here. If the undercut's going to work, if it's going to get him enough of an advantage to be able to gain on these guys. Jacob Cochran, Christian Barnes not following suit, electing to go ahead and run a few more laps.
And you met Chris last week at Charlotte. Christian Barnes was the one who flipped the script and did the early pit, the undercut, and it worked for the better part of that final stint. It ended up getting him a top 4 finish. Not enough to get the win, but maybe holding off on that. He'll the one to take that chance this time, and it's likely. Do you think it's going to force these other drivers to pit road? There's Cochran. He didn't wait but a lap to come down pit road, and he looks to have made it cleanly, folks. You see how difficult it is to make that pit road. Here comes Adam Pettit down pit road as well from the 5th position. Pettit had been working on Evan Janik for the last couple of laps. He's on pit road as well. One other car going to come down pit road. That looks like Bradley Minor in the number 46. Now all eyes are on the leader, Christian Barnes, to see if his hand has been forced. Will that number 27 make his way down pit road? The answer is no this time. He's going to go another couple of laps. Chris, what's the mentality? What's the advantage to staying out here for a handful of more laps after the rest of your competitors come down pit road?
Yeah, I actually really like this call. I feel like if he came to pit road 1 lap later, he would have just lost track position and would not have had, you know, a big tire advantage. So I like running a couple laps. He might come this time, or he might wait one more after this. Looks like he might be coming to pit road. No, he's not coming this time. He's running another one. I do like this call. Another thing to consider right here with his decision to continue running, Ellis, is he had some long run pace on these guys at the end of stage 2. So, you know, just knowing that and knowing that he can keep the tires on it, he can have an advantage for a little bit longer in that final stage. The question is, how much ground is he giving up right here in these laps right here since Matthew Hill came to pit road, since Jacob Cochran came to pit road? Matthew Hill, Ellis, came off of pit road ahead of Jacob Cochran. And it is, I'm trying to see the advantage right here between them. It's about a 1.5 second gap between the 57 and the number 8. So we think that this is going to be the battle for the lead once everybody makes their pit stop.
Do you think Christian Barnes might be hoping for a caution at some point here, which really could put him, I suppose, in a pretty solid position?
It definitely could. He might be electing to do that, try to run it out right here and wait for that caution flag. But yeah, that could definitely put him in a good spot because I think that it would kind of pressure all these other drivers here, you know, into either, you know, taking the wave around if they're a lap down or staying out to regain track position they lost.
Well, lots still left to be decided. 34 laps left here. Some comments coming through in the chat. By the way, shout out to Renee Lewis, who was the one to get that lager question correct. The first one to get it correct. Several of you got it correct, but Renee was the first one to get it correct. We'll have another trivia question here in a minute, but Stephen Gill got it correct. Lost Forgotten got it. Daytona got it. Lost Forgotten's nephew, I believe, is in the race. And remind us of who that is. I believe that's maybe Dustin Lewis in that number 33, who Lost Forgotten is rooting for tonight. I appreciate y'all tuning in, giving away that Richard Petty diecast here shortly. Jacob Cochran, Chris, another one of those cars that you mentioned to come down pit road. Still continuing to keep an eye on Christian Barnes, maybe looking like the pace is beginning to slow down. Is this the moment? It is. Christian Barnes drops it down into second, now first gear to make that difficult, tight left-hand turn onto pit road. The 27 is going to pit from the lead, and this really will tell us the story of this race, at least how he comes out compared to the number 57 of Matthew Hill. Several cars, including the top 6, are yet to pit, so the picture isn't complete, but we're going to have a better way to piece it together right now as we watch Matthew Hill, and I believe that is the number 97 of Mark Cofield, doing battle. That's not a battle for position on the track. Here comes Barnes off pit road. He's coming down pit road. The rest of the field is going to have already passed him, Chris. Heel, Cochran, and Pettit all got the jump on Christian Barnes on that pit cycle. We'll see how many seconds he's going to fall back, but those drivers will likely pay the piper and pay the fee as this run goes along, as Barnes will have roughly about 10 laps fresher tires, and close racing going on here.
Man, Mark Cofield almost turned the leader, who is going to be the leader, we feel, Matthew Hill, around right there in turn 1. Cofield is currently on 5-lap old tires, whereas Matthew Hill is on a little bit older tires, about 9 laps, so that speed difference you're seeing right there. After the pit stop, Ellis, I'm trying to watch the gap between Matthew Hill and Christian Barnes. It looks like it's going to be about 7 to 8 seconds. So it's like 8 seconds between those two cars right here. So we're going to be watching the lap time here in the next few laps right here to see what type of speed Christian Barnes has on his competitors, as we still have several drivers that have to make a pit stop, including Blaze Baker, Evan Janik, Brett Bieber, and Travis Bieber.
Yeah, you've got several drivers left to come down pit road at this point, but Matthew Hill, really the provisional leader for all intents and purposes, running right in front of Mark Cofield at the moment, and they're coming up on Brandon Vies, who has been struggling at least the past couple of laps. I shouldn't say that. Brandon Vies is currently in the 17th position, so a top 20 run going for Vies. I know it's not probably what he would want tonight, but these drivers working their way down the backstretch right now, and they're coming up on Tyler Merkel. Chris, this is a dicey part of the race for Heel. He's got to work his way by. It's going to open the door for Cochran to gain at least 2 or 3 car lengths. Cochran's not out of the woods yet, though. He's got to take it 3 wide on Merkel and Cofield. Now about a car length back from Heel. This is a battle for the provisional lead of the race right now. It's a battle on track currently for the 4th position between Cochran and Heel, and this is close, Chris. Contact between Cochran and Heel. I don't think there was anything separating the 8 and the 57 that time down into turn number 3. The runs with the number 8. It's a battle for the lead across the line.
Yeah, right there, yeah. Jacob Cochran was very nice to Matthew Hill right there as they turned down into turn 3. Yeah, Cochran's going to complete the pass right there, move the 8 up into the 3rd position. That will be the race lead once everybody makes their pit stop. The Biebers have not made their stop yet. They will be the last ones to come down pit road. In fact, here comes Brett down pit road, and I believe that we'll see Travis. Looks like Travis is going to run one more lap, try to lead a lap right here, and then he'll come probably the next time by right here. So we're really going to be watching this gap between the 8, the 57, and the 27, who is all the way back about 6.5 seconds behind the race leader. In fact, I think he's less than that, Ellis. I think that he's actually going to be about 5 seconds behind Jacob Cochran. Jacob is in all kinds of traffic.
And it is going to get intense. 25 laps to go, and boy, the racing is picking up, the action is picking up. Keep those comments in the chat. Let us know who you are rooting for. We're going to do one more trivia question tonight for you folks watching at home once this battle cools down. That's Jacob Cochran trying to work his way through lap traffic. Of course, he's got Brandon Vies, he's got Jerry Salinas, he's got Andy Berry, 3 cars in front of him. Contact made between the leader Jacob Cochran. It's 4-lap cars. He's going to have to thread his way through here. V slides up the track, opens the door for Jacob Cochran. It's going to be Salinas and Andy Berry next. Keep an eye on that heart rate monitor. That's Andy Berry's heart rate monitor climbing the BPMs the last couple of laps. Salinas can't get out of the way quick enough for Jacob Cochran. Currently the 2nd place car. Travis Bieber still leading laps out there on that number 23 machine. However, he's about to get passed outright for the lead by Jacob Cochran, who's about 3 car lengths back behind Travis Bieber, who will, I'm not even sure, lead this lap. He will at least lead one more. Cochran incredibly loose off the corner. Heel now right behind him. And Chris, who's this good news for right now?
This is great news for Christian Barnes, who has completed the pass on I did the same thing that you did last week, on Adam Pettit. and moved up into the 4th spot. And Ellis, he is about 3.5 seconds now behind Jacob Cochran. All of this battling and lap traffic and the tire advantage that he has enabled him to just close the gap on the race leader up ahead. And it's going to be difficult. You know, he's going to lose some grip on those tires. He's going to lose some time advantage, some speed advantage that he has. And he still has to get through these cars that our race leader has already worked his way through. So it's not a guarantee, even though he is very fast right now. But I wouldn't bet against him in the closing 22 laps of this race.
So it was last week that we were watching Christian Barnes be the car who was being chased down. This week, it's the opposite story. We're watching Christian Barnes be the one chasing down the rest of the cars. As we continue to watch that battle, folks, we're giving away that Richard Petty diecast. Connor's asking for a trivia question about old tracks, so we got one for you right here, folks. Let us know what you think the answer to this question is and get yourself closer winning that Richard Petty diecast. Before it hosted stock cars and Indy cars, what was the Milwaukee Mile's original purpose in the 1800s? Was it a private landing strip, a horse racing track, or a state fair midway? Let us know in the chat what the correct answer to this trivia question is. We're going to be giving away that Richard Petty diecast to one lucky viewer. Some guesses already coming in. Let's keep them coming. Chris, now might actually be a good time. Should we get that battle box up on the screen, maybe, Cam?
Yeah, it might be a good time to put the battle box on the number 27 machine of Christian Barnes, seeing what it says right here for projected lap pass.
Oh boy.
Now, Christian was in some traffic right there. He was completing a pass on Jerry Salinas. We'll see right here what it updates to as they cross the line. Christian Barnes in the 3rd position right here. It does update while he was completing that pass. It says 8 laps. We'll leave it up here for another lap and see what it says as they come across the line right here. He's also going to have some dirty air on the nose this time as well. That's Brandon V's up ahead. Ooh, and you see right there, Christian really had to stomp on the brakes mid-corner right there to keep from running into the back of Brandon. He is sideways right here off the corner. Yeah, he's really driving the car very hard right now. With just 19 laps to go in this thing. Yeah, it updated 12 laps. Yeah, his lap time got hurt a little bit right there behind Brandon. So see if he can recover on this lap.
And this is not what Christian Barnes needs. He's going to get the run off the corner. He's going to be able to make that pass finally on Brandon V's and that number 65. But Chris, with just 18 laps remaining, every single lap matters. As Brandon V's looks like he wanted to fight back on the inside a little bit there. Going to think better of it. Christian Barnes still in 3rd. We're going to see what that battle box says this time. Might have ticked down a couple of laps, and yeah, that's absolutely right. We saw kind of the issues he had behind that 65 car. Dirty air, getting that car a little bit upset, but Christian Barnes not going to be deterred here. Now 17 laps left, Chris. This would put him there on the final white flag lap presented by Whiplash SimCam. So he's going to hope to be there before that, I'd imagine. He's going to want some time to work through Matthew Heel first because he's got to get by 2nd before he can even lay chase to Jacob Cochran, who's slowly inching his way out in further in front of 2nd place Matthew Heel right now. Jacob Cochran leading the way, Chris. Tough week for Cochran last week at Charlotte. Looking to get back on the mend and rebound this week here at Milwaukee. And so far, I haven't seen a better car on the track on the long run than Jacob Cochran. How do you think that is going to kind of translate into the final 15 laps of this race?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be in his favor right here as Christian Barnes going to work his way around a very fast lap car in Mark Cofield, who's been able to kind of maintain right here with the leaders. So that's a significant pass right there. It's going to be difficult to chase down this number 8 car. You know, Jacob is fast week in and week out on the long runs. You know, when he doesn't run into trouble, he's normally one of the guys moving forward on the long run. So yeah, he's definitely got a lot of pace right now, got a lot of speed. We know Christian Barnes has the tire advantage, but you know, Jacob has been out in a lot of clean air in the last few laps, and there is nothing better on tires, Ellis, than clean air. As we got a battle for 2nd. Christian Barnes inside of Matthew Hill. He's going to complete the pass. Now Barnes has a lot of clean air on the nose of that Ford Mustang.
This is the best case scenario for Christian Barnes. We believe he's got the best situation when it comes to tires, but Jacob Cochran has been known as a tire manager in the past, looking to do the same thing tonight, and you can see it there, Chris. Barnes looking like it's going to take 6 laps based on speed to get to the front, but that can change every single lap based on a variety of factors and variables. We'll be keeping an eye on it. Cochran still the leader, Barnes second, Matthew Heel back to third, but shout out to Adam Pettit back in 4th position. That driver in the 96 started all the way back in 25th position, has climbed his way up to the 4th position right now, trying to work his way by that lap car of Brandon V's. And shout out to the number 96 of Adam Pettit. They're doing a great job as they wind their way through turns 3 and 4, continuing to impress. Hey, speaking of continuing to impress, first answer in that trivia question was from Renee. She got it right again. The correct answer was it was a horse racing track, and I think with that, Renee, I think we're going to go ahead and get it out of the way. Renee Lewis, you are the winner of that diecast tonight. You can go ahead and email us at ssracingleagues@gmail.com and claim that prize and let us know how we can get that to you in the mail. That is ssracingleagues@gmail.com.
Oh, we got trouble. It looks like, I'm sorry, Ellis, but I believe Evan Janik.
Evan,
yeah.
Oh, he's
Donnie
on
Honeycutt.
the racetrack right in front of 2 or 3 cars. Not sure what happened there, but it's put us under caution. And suddenly the complexion of this race has been turned on its head on lap 138. And boy, oh boy, Chris, not sure what we just saw.
Yeah, we're going to have to go all the way back to the exit of turn 2 to see this. It was some contact with a slow car. It was some contact with Andy Berry. Andy is right behind the 40 machine right there. He goes low right there. And yeah, it looks like they had a little argument over space right there entering turn 3. The right front is damaged. That's a meatball flag. He had to come to pit road. I looked up and I saw that. And as he is rolling right here, yeah, this is just unfortunate timing right here as the 22 and the 46 came upon him. Donnie Honeycutt running to the back of him. Bradley Minor, I think that's Donnie's teammate, is collected in that as well. So a very, very unfortunate set of circumstances right there for several drivers off of turn number 4. And Ellis, as they say, this changes everything.
It does change everything, and it looked like Janik was just trying to slow down to get to pit road as that meatball flag was requiring him to do. But Chris, cars on pit road right now. This could be the difference between first and second. This could be the race for the win on pit road. Heel, Barnes, Cochran, the top 3 lead the way down pit road. Who's going to win the battle off? Will anyone take a gamble and maybe go with 2 tires and get that track position? We're going to have to wait to find out. One car overshoots the pit road. Cochran, Jerry Salinas comes off second, and he might not have been for position. Might have been a lap down, Chris, but
he is.
Christian Barnes going to come off second. Matthew Heel third. Top 3 remains unchanged.
Yeah, and, you know, a significant advantage that Jacob Cochran had on that pit stop, not only being the leader, but he had some lap cars between himself and Christian Barnes in the lineup. So that gave him a little bit of a gap entering pit road. He could just focus on hitting his marks, not overshooting his pit stall, not undershooting it either. So, yeah, he definitely came in there nice and steady, did a good job on pit road, had that little bit of a gap right here. And Ellis, we're going to take the choose down the front stretch this time.
They are working these cautions fast and furious all night long. Not a moment to breathe, but hey, that just means more green flag racing, and you can't complain about that, folks. It's been a great night so far. This is going to be, I believe, an 8-lap shootout for the win, and you got 3 or 4 cars, Chris, that I think, and let's not count out Brett Bieber as well, who he's got fresh tires at this point as well, Chris. Some of the freshest. That pit strategy really worked out for the 32 of Brett Bieber, waiting late in that run to pit, and it paid dividends. Move him up to the 5th or 6th position as they kind of swap.
And Ellis, I want to make a quick note of this. This is an important development. Christian Barnes elected to take the inside. He could have started side by side with Jacob Cochran. He wants to be behind the 8. He wants to be on that inside lane entering turn 1.
Let us know who you think's going to win. We don't have to wait long to find out. Cochran sees the green flag, brings him underway from what might be the final time tonight at Milwaukee, what used to be a horse racing track. The horses have been unleashed under the hoods of these Xfinity machines for the Downtown Auto Sales Series. Just 7.5 laps. Cochran works his way down the backstretch. Matthew Heel second. Christian Barnes hot on the heels of that number 57 machine, but Barnes has a mirror full of Andy Pettit. Several cars on top of each other as they come off of turn 4.
Yeah, that's Adam Pettit right there on the inside of Christian Barnes. He's looking there. He's peeking to the inside. Oh, he's sideways entering turn 1 right there. He holds on to it. Christian Barnes right here trying to regroup after that restart. He came off of pit road in second. Now he's in third right here. Matthew Hill looks like he is the driver who possibly might be able to do something with Jacob Cochran closing up on the back bumper of the number 8.
Meanwhile, Brett Bieber and Tyler Honeycutt doing battle. Honeycutt sideways off the corner. Bieber's going to get the spot and the advantage on that one. Move Bieber all the way up to 6th position. Now chasing Andy Kurtz, who's right in front of that pack. Up front right now with just 5.5 laps left to go. That's Jacob Cochran, that red, white, and blue machine. He's got the red and white, number 57, Chris, as close as he's been in several laps. That's Matthew Heel looking for his second win of the season. Both drivers looking for win number 2 as they come off of turn number 4. Now 4 laps left here from the Milwaukee Mile. I should say 5 laps left.
Yeah, 5 laps to go, 5 miles left here. Matthew Heel doing all he can. We saw Matthew Heel adjust at the beginning of the final stage, doing everything he can to pace himself and maybe try to save some tires. I guarantee you right now, Ellis, nobody is saving anything out there. They are letting it all hang out right there.
Boy.
One car way up the hill. I believe that's
Bieber.
the 32 of Brett Bieber. He's got it collected, but he's lost several positions.
Brett Bieber definitely saying, oh, baby, 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 as he climbed through turns 3 and 4. He holds on to it, though, in that number 32 machine. Chris up at the front. He'll get a little bit of the wall off of turn 2. Suddenly, the advantage arrow looks like it's moved in the direction of the number 8 of Jacob Cochran. Suffered a heartbreak last week at Charlotte with a fast car. Looking to make up for that. Oh,
Christian Barnes.
Christian Barnes off the corner. Down to the front straightaway wall. Will the race director leave us under green? The answer is no. We're going to be setting ourselves up for a green-white checkered finish here at the Milwaukee Mile. What happened to Barnes?
Green-white checkered finish indeed right here. And Ellis, I said it before, nobody is saving anything. They are giving it all they got right here. And Christian Barnes was doing just that. Got that thing sideways off of turn number 4 and unfortunately could not hold on to it. Goes head on into the inside retaining wall. And Ellis, this is a significant development in this race here, and we're gonna have to see what happens.
We're going to have to see what happens indeed, and not a lot of time left to make those moves. They've been working these cautions fairly fast. And with that, folks, we got to get one last break in. Whiplash SimCams makes every view that you see. Expert producer Cam working tonight and bringing this race to you through. Whiplash SimCams helps us out with that. We're going to go ahead and hear from them. We'll be back in about 40 seconds. You're not going to miss a thing. Back here live from Brew City, folks. I am Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith and producer Cam in the Slingshot TV booth. getting ready in just moments for a green-white checkered finish for race number 10 here of the NSRLA Downtown Auto Sales Series. About half a lap away from the choose. Chris, if you're in that top two, if you're the leader, Cochran, what lane do you like? You want to be on the inside or the outside?
Yeah, you definitely want to be on the inside if you're the leader. The choice is going to be, I think, in second place. Matthew Hill was third on the previous restart, and Christian Barnes chose the inside, and I don't think it worked out how Christian wanted it to work, so I think that Matthew Hill is going to take the top here. I'd be shocked if he doesn't. He wants to line up side by side with Jacob Cochran. Anything can happen to that leader. He can have a little bit of trouble on the restart. He could miss a shift. And that looks like what has transpired right there. Jacob Cochran going to take the inside. Matthew Hill going to line up second. And Adam Pettit going to line up third in the 96 with Andy Kurtz. What a charge up through the field for Andy in that number 95 machine. He finds himself in fourth, Ellis.
Yeah, a great, really season's best run going on for the young season of Andy Kurtz there in fourth position. Chris, I'm keeping an eye on that number 96 of Adam Pettit. He's kind of my dark horse pick to come in here and upset the apple cart, possibly pull off the upset. It would be much of an upset. He's been fast all night long, started back in the 25th position, easily the biggest mover, 22 spots gained. Can he gain two more? Heel and Cochran, the front row, they're going to have something to say about it. Folks, root on these drivers in the chat right now. It's going to be 2 laps. We're going to see the green flag. Then we're going to see that Whiplash SimCam's white flag. And then we're going to have a winner here in Milwaukee. Pace car gets out of the way. Leaders are off. Contact between Cochran and Heel. Cochran sideways. It opens the door for Heel to get a run on the inside. Move the 57 to the side-by-side position. It's a battle for the lead off of turn 2 down the backstretch. It's a drag race.
We got trouble off of turn 2. Looks like Blaze Baker, Mark Cofield, they're still straight. We're green. Jacob Cochran on the outside, gonna pitch that 57 of Matthew Hill off of turn 4. Drivers coming to the white flag.
Whiplash SimCam's white flag waves. It's a side-by-side battle. Heel on the inside. He might have the better spot. Can Cochran put the throttle down faster? Side by side, they've got to be careful. Cochran pinches the 57 down. All is fair on the final lap. It's side by side. Folks, hold your hats close. We're about to see maybe the best finish of the season. Sideways crash behind them. Can Heel get the run off the corner? Will there be contact? Cochran on the outside, Heel on the inside. Cochran's going to hold on to win in Milwaukee by a nose. Wow, what a finish for Cochran. He claims a second win of the Downtown Auto Sales Series season in 10 races, and Matthew Heel comes up short. It's his second runner-up finish of the season, and don't look now. I know we're going to have some fans excited to hear this in the chat. Justin Lewis with a podium finish, best finish of the season for driver number 33.
Yeah, great job by Dustin there on the last lap. We did have some last lap things going on right there between some drivers. Unfortunately, some were running up there in the around the third position. I think, Ellis, it might be a good chance right now before we go to the interviews right here to show some last lap contact. Cam, if we want to go side by side right here, there's some contact between the 95 of Andy Kurtz and the 96 of Adam Pettit. There's the 95 on the outside, the HendrickCars.com machine, and it looks like, yeah, some contact right there, right front to left rear. That's going to turn the 95 around, and unfortunately for Andy Kurtz, he was one set of corners away from a podium finish tonight.
Man, that was a tough break. We saw him really impressive as the race went along. I have to settle for that 12th place finish. Heartbreak in the end, Chris, but Tyler Honeycutt, Adam Pettit, they round out the top 5. Bradley Minor, recovering from kind of a mid-race tumble, is going to hang on and finish 6th. We'll talk about the rest of the running order after those post-race interviews. We're getting ready to hear from those drivers. We got to get them into the waiting room. We're waiting to queue these drivers up. Let's see if we can get them in here. Have to wait a moment. And Chris, I'm not seeing anyone in the waiting room right now.
Yeah, I think they're up in the holler waiting room instead of in the broadcast waiting room. So yeah, we'll give them another second or two right here. We are going to wait on third place Dustin Lewis right here. hopefully Dustin will report to the waiting room so we can get a word with him after this third place finish that he had here tonight.
Yeah, we want to hear what was going on. I know he's got some fans who want to hear from him in that number 33 as well, folks. It's been a great night of racing. Want to remind you, we do this on a regular basis. And Chris, we got 2 new series starting up next week as we kind of wait for some of these drivers to get into the waiting room for the interviews. You're going to hear more about those later, folks. But if you enjoyed what you saw tonight, you can find this every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday night. Just hit that subscribe button. You're not going to miss a moment of action if you hit that subscribe button, and it helps us get these races out to more fans like you. And speaking of fans, I know we got some Dustin Lewis fans in the chat. Let's go ahead and bring that driver number 33 into the broadcast booth. Dustin Lewis, this is Ellis, Chris, and producer Cam in Slingshot's booth. You got a copy, brother.
I read you loud and clear, boys.
Oh, man. Well, you had some fans in the chat. They brought the energy, about as much energy as you brought on the track tonight. Your best run of the season after starting 11th. You really used the late race cautions to your advantage. Kind of walk us through the final maybe 20 or 30 laps. How did you get your way all the way up to 3rd place?
Patience. That's the only thing I can really chalk it up to. Just this track is so hot. It was 117 degrees. It was slick. You could not push the car at all. And when you could push it, you had to be so tender with the throttle. And it was just a matter of applying the throttle gradually. And then when you got the wheel straight, flatten it out and then let the car go up to the wall. It was just picking little by little all race long, capitalizing where everybody was falling off.
Man, you capitalized, and that is kind of putting it as an understatement. You mentioned just how delicate you had to be with the throttle. We saw you do such a good job with that all night long. Really impressed with how you drivers did out there. Now, next week, we are indeed headed away from Milwaukee to Iowa, a little bit of a shorter track. What do you make of your chances headed into corn country up north?
I haven't driven Iowa in the the O'Reilly cars just yet. It's going to be a definite learning experience. I have drove in the Cup cars, the next gen cars there. And if I remember correctly, we had great speed. We think we qualified like 3rd or 4th. And then going into the first turn, the rears locked up on me under brakes and I ended up wrecking out. But with these cars, I don't think that's going to happen. So I think if we can just do what we did this week, just patience, little by little, gain spots, gain traction, gain positions, I think we got it.
Man, you did a good job tonight. We'll look to see if you can improve next week. I know you got some fans waiting to hear some shout outs in the chat. So who you shouting out tonight?
I don't know who's exactly watching. A few people might be, but shout out to my parents. They watch. I heard them when I crossed the finish line. I heard them in the other room cheering. So
I know your uncle is watching too, I believe.
Oh, if he's watching too, then shout out to him as well for watching.
And
That's
Renee,
awesome.
do you know Renee? She won the diecast tonight.
Yeah, she's my mother.
Okay, there you go.
So I might have another decorative piece on my desk come whenever it gets here. But definitely shout outs to them. Shout out to Alex Pollock, Andy Berry, Jacob Cochran. They were all kind of communicating. Even Evan Janik, we were all kind of talking in our chat a little bit about the strategy, race, and all that kind of stuff. That kind of helped me a little bit figure out what they were doing and how my car was kind of behaving compared to theirs. So definite shout outs to them. Shout out to Morgan Cook, our race control, doing an excellent job tonight. He didn't do anything tonight.
Making his job easy. You guys put on a great show. We'll let you go celebrate that podium finish. Dustin Lewis, P3 tonight at Milwaukee. All right, Chris, we just heard from Dustin. I believe you've cut up trackside with Matthew Heel, our 2nd place finisher.
Yeah, I got him here in the booth right here. Matthew Hill, our 2nd place finisher. This is Chris, Ellis, and Cam in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Matthew, what a heck of a finish that we saw between you and Jacob Cochran. You did an excellent job right there on that restart. Got side by side with Jacob right there from restarting on the outside. Take us back to that last lap. Take us back to that last lap restart and or that final restart. And what more did you need right there to complete the pass on Jacob to bring home the checker flag? It was awfully close right there at the line.
Well, he gave me 30 seconds of damage there in the second stint for no reason because he didn't want to try to pass me on the high side, and he just kept ramming my rear bumper. So when I pitted, I had 30 seconds of damage, and unfortunately, I knew that I would either fix that and go to the back or try to stay out. So we were fighting a real ill-handling race car there in the last stage. I'm real disappointed. There's so many lanes here at Milwaukee, and he drove through my rear bumper so many times. So we were just struggling there. And honestly, I'll say something nice because the rest here is getting me negative. But what a great show tonight. We only had a few cautions, complete day and night from Bristol a few weeks back when we were getting yellows every 5 laps. I think everybody should give themselves a big round of applause for just such a great show tonight, but just really disappointed in the 8. We pretty much had the field covered, and he knew what he had to do to get it. And he gave me 30 seconds of damage, and we were just plowing tight. When that final caution hit, I knew I was going to go for it, and I was trying to fight the urge just to wreck him. And I think I did a pretty good job there. I mean, I had a shot. I gave it all that car had, but we were just so pushing tight. We were about 3/10 off. It's so disappointing that we have to be raced that way, and we can't try to pass clean. It's like we always say the children's style of racing, where it's just you just ram through the guy because you can't try to make a move on him and pass him clean. But I guess you can't be too upset with the P2. Been getting a lot of these lately. Had fun, racing with Dustin Lewis and all those other guys was a blast. I was really hoping that once I left Christian by that he was going to get at him, but just pretty frustrated with the second. But happy that we didn't have 15 cautions.
Well, hey, next week we're going to Iowa, a short track. This not technically a short track, but it races a lot like one here at Milwaukee. Iowa is also one of the larger short track style of tracks right here. Is this going to change what happened tonight? Is this going to change the way that you race Jacob next week at Iowa and going forward here this season?
Not really. I gave it everything I had there on that final restart. I mean, he didn't really wreck me intentionally, but I'm certainly not going to give him any leniency if we're neck and neck again. But looking forward to Iowa next week. Do you know what configuration it's going to be? I know they have a few different ones of those out now.
I think, and Ellis, you might know better than I do, but I think that it's going to be the newest one, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't have any reason to suspect it's not going to be based on what I'm looking at.
All right. Yeah, it's hit or miss. I'll either be contending for the lead or be back in 15th like I usually am. So we'll see. But overall, had fun. Wish we would have brought it home. Just hate that style of racing.
Well, hey, man, you put on a great show here tonight. Led a lot of laps. Definitely had a lot of speed in that 57 car. And we know that you'll be fast next week at Iowa. Before we let you go celebrate your podium finish here tonight, do you have any shout-outs for the folks watching at home?
Oh, I got to thank all my friends and family, all watching. They support me on my crazy psychopathic racing journey. Got to give a shout out to all the Class Motorsports guys and Jeffrey McConey currently down in Daytona for the test. We're actually heading to Allentown, Pennsylvania for the Indoor Auto Racing Series. We're going to have Andy's car there, and I guess the plan is to have me run a few laps, so it'll be my first time in an indoor TQ midget. Those are some heavy shoes to fill. He's a 5-time winner. And being able to jump in his car is honestly a dream come true. It's really cool, and I'm super appreciative to get that opportunity. And just, having a lot of fun with the limited budget that we have. We bought our own TQ midget. We're going to be racing here in the outdoor series. Still trying to get some money to go to Florida here for the Auburndale Showdown. But just having fun and really looking forward to the real racing side in 2026.
Well, hey, man, that's awesome. And, man, from us here at Slingshot, we wish you the best of luck in all of your real-life racing endeavors here going forward. And, we'll let you go celebrate this second-place finish here tonight. Great run tonight, man. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. There's one more shout-out. I got to give a shout-out to the broadcast booth. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a place to showcase our talent, so greatly appreciative you sticking out with us and having some fun tonight.
We appreciate you putting on a great show. That's Matthew Hill, guys, our second-place finisher. Congratulations, man.
All right, we heard from Matthew Heel. Now time to hear from the winner. We caught up with Jacob Cochran in Victory Lane. Hey, Jacob Cochran, winner tonight at Milwaukee. It's Ellis, Chris, and Cam in Slingshot TV's booth. You got a copy, P1.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, I'm not going to mince words here. I just want to kind of start with what we just got from second-place finisher Matthew Heel. You had a great run tonight. You had a great car, but That driver of the number 57, not too happy about what he believed it took for you to get around him. Can you walk us through kind of your perspective of what was going on there when you guys were running nose to tail? He believes you didn't race him clean. I think he used the word child was the way you raced him, or childlike. Walk us through kind of your perspective of how that racing was going.
Well, I mean, I ran him down from over a second twice, and by far had the best long run car. He knew that, and we're going for a stage win. I mean, if he wants me to just ride behind him and just give him the win every weekend, I mean, he go find another league. This is racing, and if he doesn't like, getting the bumper, then he can go find somewhere else to race. All I'm going to say is my opinion. He's a 4,000 iRating crybaby that doesn't like to get raced. So, if you go off of iRating, he should have waxed the field, and he didn't. So. He can go find somewhere else to race.
All right, now let's hit the positive stuff, man. That 8 was fast. You mentioned on the long run, you become known as kind of a tire manager, a race manager, and you really showcased that tonight. How difficult was it to drive these cars near another car or on your own tonight here at Milwaukee?
Yeah, this track is fun. I mean, it's really flat, really slick. It's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorites. Tire management's huge. We were pretty much all shifting tonight, so when to shift, where to shift, to get the rotation, to get the run off, and not just burn the tires off of it coming off the corner. So, it was a lot of fun. I mean, racing with everybody thought was pretty good. Overall the race, I mean, I think we had 2 natural yellows, which is awesome, especially as hard as this track was in the car combination. So, hats off to everybody. It was a great race for sure. Green flag pit stops and too, so that was fun.
Can't ever be upset about some green flag pit stops, man. You put on a show tonight. We're headed to Iowa next week. What are you expecting when you head into that little bull ring in corn country?
Yeah, Iowa's fun. Another track that we've been pretty good at. It's another one off the list. So we'll be ready.
3 races left before tonight, 2 races left before the playoffs. Are you putting yourself down as a championship contender?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of good guys in here. We got to make it there first. We just got to keep the momentum up and not have another Charlotte. That last week was rough. Just keep clicking them off and keep making friends.
Man, you rebounded well tonight, getting that second win on the season. Before we let you go celebrate in victory lane, got any shout outs for the folks watching at home?
Yeah. Shout out you guys in the Slingshot booth. You guys always do a great job, and we appreciate all your hard work. Barry Performance, Andy Barry, and Michael Cole, and all the admins that helped this thing go around, and all the sponsors, Downtown Auto Sales, Diesel Laptops, Black Diamond Designs, everybody that makes the league run.
Awesome, man. Well, great performance tonight. We'll see you at Iowa next week. Have a great night. P1 winner tonight here at Milwaukee, Jacob Cochran.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Absolutely. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the race rundown and hear from the rest of the running order tonight and find out where your favorite drivers finished. We've heard from the top 3. Tyler Honeycutt, Chris fought back for a 4th position. Great performance from him. Adam Pettit all the way back from 25th, brings it all the way up to 5th. 20 positions gained on the night. Bradley Minor, after kind of a fall off in the middle of the race, works his way back up to 6th. Brett Bieber turns a pit strategy into a golden opportunity with a 7th place finish tonight. Cody Riggs, we saw him running in the top 4 on that final restart, got in trouble, fell back to 8th, but still a top 10 for driver number 12. Travis Bieber as well, working that late race strategy to his advantage with a 9th place finish. And Brandon Vees with another top 10 as he's continuing to come on hotter and hotter as the season moves along.
Yeah, he definitely is right here. And as we look at the rest of the field right here, we got Donnie Honeycutt coming home in the 11th position. Not the night that Donnie wanted. Didn't quite have the speed, and we saw him in that crash late in the race with Evan Janik, who unfortunately had his issues with Andy Berry right there. In the 12th position, we've got Andy Kurtz right here, and I was just going to give a little update about Andy. You know, he was looking at a third-place finish. Adam Pettit made some contact. Adam was very quick in the chat to apologize. Andy Kurtz said it is all good. A lot of sportsmanship shown between those two drivers. I know that's a difficult result for Andy. Jerry Salinas is going to bring it home in it says 14th right here, but I believe, Ellis, that he is actually going to finish in I'm going to double check right here. I think Blaze Baker is actually going to finish 13th. Jerry Salinas in 14th. Alex Pollock is going to bring it home in the 15th position. Our running order is a little bit messed up right here. Ryan Bittler in the 16th position. Mark Cofield is going to finish in 17th tonight. Christian Barnes wondering what if, in the closing stages. He was definitely looking at a guaranteed podium finish. If that thing went green to the end, was he going to have enough time and enough tire to be able to catch the leader, Jacob Cochran? He's going to wonder. He's going to think back to that here over the next few days. Tyler Merkel will bring it home in 19th, and Gino Volante, happy birthday, Gino, going to bring it home in 20th.
21st was Evan Janik, another tough break, involved in an incident with Andy Berry earlier in the race. Ended his race in heartbreak before the checkered flag. Andy Berry, again, mentioned 22nd. Heart rate got as high as 135 tonight. Shout out and thank you to Andy for wearing that and letting y'all have a little bit of insight into what these drivers experience. David Moyer finished 23rd. And again, most of these drivers had trouble early on in the first third of the race. Stephen Gill, heard from him in the chat. He finishes 24th. Jordan Ives, 25th. Brandon Walger brings it home 26th, or 27th, I should say. Dan Berg is going to bring it home 26th. And those are your 27 drivers who finished the race or started the race tonight. Not everyone was able to bring it home in one piece. Chris, this was an absolutely phenomenal race from the green flag, the fall of the green flag earlier tonight, all the way to the checkered flag. We saw a great race, and we saw some fenders beating and banging, which we talked about as being something we expected to see in pre-race. Track position, difficult to get and difficult, to certainly take, as some drivers had to use a little bit of the bumper to make that happen. What were your takeaways here from Milwaukee and where this championship race is headed with just 2 races left before the playoffs begin?
Yeah, I'm going to open the curtain up a little bit for all of our viewers right here who are still watching. And Ellis and I and Cam were talking in that last commercial break about how amazing this race was. And that was before the finish. It was just great action tonight. These cars put on one heck of a show. I love that the weather was so hot. These cars sliding around. I think it provided a really, really good show. And these drivers, man, great job all night. We didn't see a lot of yellows until the very end. I think we had one other crash that brought out a yellow before, the closing stages right there. So, a great job by the drivers. And, man, this championship battle, man, it's coming right down to the wire here. Just a couple races left here after tonight. I think Jacob Cochran, with this performance tonight, he's had some bad luck this season. He hasn't been at every single race. I think he is solidifying himself as a championship favorite here. We saw the speed that Christian Barnes also had on the long run. I think that he's another driver that you have to look at that'll be a championship favorite. A lot of guys did themselves some favors tonight, racked up a lot of stage points, putting themselves in a little bit better position right here along that close bubble line that we've got.
And it's going to be heating up. That bubble just wide open for anyone to seize those final few spots in the playoffs before we hit that final race at Darlington and the playoffs open at Homestead, Miami in just a few weeks, folks. Great race tonight. We appreciate everyone joining us. The chat's really what makes this thing go. We do this every single week. In fact, we do it multiple times a week. In fact, Slingshot Racing League has 2 new series starting up, Chris. Late models are running on Monday night. That'll be broadcast on Monday evenings around 9 o'clock Eastern time. And then the O'Reilly Grand National Series for Slingshot Racing League? You and I are going to be running in that starting next week at Daytona with the season opener on Wednesday. So it's an interesting, start of new seasons for those 2 leagues.
Yeah, it definitely is. I can't wait to see how all that transpires. Encourage everybody who loves good racing to tune in to both of those series starting next week. Monday night, the action, the late model stocks are going to be at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Iconic short track, one of my favorite tracks, honestly, to watch a race at. So looking forward to that. And Wednesday night in the O'Reilly series for Slingshot Racing League at Daytona, hitting the high banks. A lot of pack racing there before you and I and Cam Ellis settle down again next Thursday night for Iowa here in the NSRLA Downtown Auto Sales National Series. Can't wait for next week.
Lots of racing, folks, headed your way. The playoffs are getting tight. The race here tonight, the Brew City 50, was one for the ages, with Jacob Cochran winning just by a car length over Matthew Heel. Folks, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week from Corn Country in Iowa. So long for Ellis Thomas, Chris Smith, and Cam Gillens. It's been Slingshot TV, folks. We'll catch y'all next week. Have a great weekend.